on a picture-perfect day on the Livingston campus in Piscataway. It's Rutgers baseball on RVision, presented by AT&T. Today, the Monmouth Hawks at 21-13 out of the Northeast Conference take on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. At 17-16, they are 8-4 in the Big East. Welcome, everyone, to Bainton Field. Danny Breslauer and Jay Goldstein here with you. Jay cannot say more about the weather. It is gorgeous, but when it comes to Rutgers baseball in the midweek, 14-8 win yesterday over Lafayette, breaking an 8-8 tie, and the pitching of John Young late, his 4 2/3 of relief, excellent.
Well, the sophomore earning his first collegiate win. The story really being more about Reed Shuttle, the first freshman to make a start for the Scarlet Knights, and senior Jerry Elsing did it on May 29, 2010. Came in, pitched 4 innings himself, didn't get the job done. John Young coming in relief, keeping the bullpen fresh, leading the Scarlet Knights to victory, could bode well for today.
For 30th year head coach Fred Hill in the middle of your screen, he'll have an outstanding coaching matchup today against the 20th year head coach of Monmouth, that Dean Ehalt. And for a lack of puns, I'll throw you one. He is the dean of the NEC coaches, the all-time winningest coach in the history of the Northeast Conference. For Fred Hill, he is at 1,076 career wins. That is good for 13th among active coaches. There's the Monmouth Hawks. They come into today at 21-13, 12-4 in the NEC. That's Jake Gronsky, their second baseman. He'll lead off. Hitting second, John Gaida, the shortstop. Craig Sweeney will play right field, hit third. Owen Stewart, their best hitter at over 400 on the year, will play third and clean up. Joe Bamford, the left fielder, will hit fifth. Chris Perrette will be the first baseman, hit sixth. Kyle Perry plays center and hits seventh. Dan Shea, the DH, and then Connor White, the catcher. Monmouth's pitcher will be Anthony Chivarella. We'll give you the details on him, the freshman lefty, in just a little bit. But for Rutgers today, it is Pat O'Leary and Jay. Last year, O'Leary, the Scarlet Knights senior at 6'2", 200 from Sparta. He was excellent against Monmouth in an 8-1 win.
O'Leary was excellent. He hopes to come out again this afternoon and repeat what he did against the Hawks last year. Currently 1-0 this year with an ERA of 5.59 as you see him taking his warm-up pitches. And he needs to be poised, find the location today, get the strike zone, and get ahead in the count early to give Rutgers a chance in this one against a very good Monmouth team.
As O'Leary was throwing his warm-up tosses to Jeff Malillo, you saw Carlos Dino Jr., our home plate umpire for today. At first, David Perry will be the umpire, and Richard Franco will be down the third base line as well. Pat O'Leary taking his warm-up tosses, the 1-0 record on the year, the former Morris County College star who began his career at Stony Brook, a 5.59 ERA this year, making just his fourth appearance, pitched well in relief against Fordham last week, but his only start this year, Jay, came a couple of weeks ago in the midweek against Iona, 5 innings of 3 hit ball.
Well, he's a good midweek pitcher. You have your big guns on the weekend, Samoro, Gebler, Charlie Law, that weekend rotation. In the week, you need a stopgap, a guy that's going to play an out-of-conference opponent. And today, Rutgers is calling on O'Leary to get the job done.
O'Leary's outing last year at Monmouth, 6 2/3 of 3 hit ball. Around the infield for Rutgers, first to third goes Law with Nick Favitella, Pat Sweeney, and Matt Teets. Malillo, the catcher. Left to right in the outfield, Zerillo, O'Grady, and Steve Zavala. Zavala, who had 4 RBIs, his career high, last year against Monmouth. Stepping in is Jake Gronsky to get us going this afternoon. For the Hawks, the junior out of Danville, Pennsylvania, and Danville Area High School, a .328 hitter. And the strike-throwing Pat O'Leary throws ball 1 to open us up. If there's one thing about Pat O'Leary that sticks out about his midweek propensity, Jays, he'll fill in the strike zone.
That's what Rutgers needs today.
Missing down and away for 2-0.
Now, this isn't a lineup, Danny, that hits a lot of home runs. As a team, they've only hit 12 this year, so they expect to see a lot of small ball.
Fouled away, first strike of the day for O'Leary. And to that end, the Rutgers lineup, which has hit the ball very well as a team, with 17 home runs, is good for second in the Big East, but second by a wide margin to 33 by Pittsburgh, top 25 in the nation. They'll take on Rutgers in Pitt over the weekend, and Gronsky into right field for a leadoff base hit for Monmouth.
It's a good piece of hitting there by Gronsky. Didn't really take too many pitches from O'Leary. Took the first 2 for balls out of the strike zone, fouled one off, and then found one he liked. Got that one into the gap. Favatella jumped. Nothing doing there. We have our first base runner of the day.
So the Hawks quickly with a base runner. They're coming off a 3-1 win over Ryder yesterday, much like Rutgers' 14-8 win out in Easton against Lafayette. Here's John Gaida, the junior infielder from Martinsville, New Jersey. Graduate of Bridgewater Raritan as Charlie Law scoops up the throw-over. Gaida, a .267 hitter, making his 34th start in as many games. Leading off first is Gronsky following the leadoff single, and it's fouled away. Count is 0-1. Gaida, 2 home runs, 18 RBIs on the year. For a Monmouth team that played a very challenging out-of-conference schedule, much like Rutgers, some of these New Jersey schools like to go south, take on the big-time opponents early. Upstairs from O'Leary, and the count's even at 1.
Well, those big-time opponents also equals nice weather in the month of February and March, so nice to get out of Jersey. Been a very rough winter weather-wise, so to get to play in Miami and North Carolina, a bit of a break.
1-1 count, nobody out, top 1. Man on first from Monmouth, and O'Leary's breaker never broke. Gronsky will slide back into first as Melillo gave him a look.
Second straight hitter that O'Leary's fallen behind in the count, struggling to find the strike zone early here.
3-step lead at first for Gronsky. The count even at 2. To that point about Monmouth's out-of-conference schedule, we saw the New Jersey schools. Rutgers plays number 15 Georgia Tech on a year-to-year basis. Top 20 Miami. Seton Hall went down and right off the bat played number 1 UNC. Monmouth was swept by number 2 Vanderbilt. So all 3 schools went down and took on major competition. The 2-2 from O'Leary is popped up behind home plate. Melillo is going to give it a look near the RU dugout, and it will hop at the feet of Joe Laterio, the Rutgers associate head coach. Connections between Coach Litt and Monmouth. 4 years an assistant there. Moved on to be decade-long head coach at Wagner within the same conference as Monmouth. Now the associate head coach at Rutgers, his alma mater. O'Leary checks on Gronsky. Monmouth a year ago, 35-24, 20-10 in the NEC. Went 14-16 in true road games. O'Leary very concerned with Jake Gronsky, who is just 1 for 3 on the year. And a stat that I circled coming into today was that Monmouth barely runs. Just 14 of 26 on the year, while opponents have attempted 63 stolen bases against them. 2-2 is fouled away again. Good at bat here from Gaida.
When you get caught 12 times, I think it kind of ruins your confidence a little bit, hinders it. So, Gronsky taking a wide lead off of first base, but I think it might just be a decoy. Gaida really making O'Leary work here in the second at bat of the game.
Well, Ehalt's propensity to try to just move runners over via swinging wasn't a hindrance last year. Lost in the NEC championship game, 5-1 to Sacred Heart. That played at Dodds Stadium in Norwich. This year will be played down in Lakewood. Gaida lifts that one towards center field. Medium depth for Brian O'Grady. He'll make the catch for the first out. As Gronsky will bluff on a tag. Good throw from O'Grady, 1 down.
It was a tough at bat, though. Gaida really made O'Leary work. Made good contact on the ball, just did not get enough under it. O'Grady was there to make the first out of the afternoon.
Craig Sweeney, the right fielder for Monmouth. Sophomore from Middletown South High School down the shore. 6 foot, 190-pounder. He'll play right field today. 1 out, top 1. Gronsky had a leadoff single against Pat O'Leary, who hits the zone with his first breaking ball, Jay. That's very important.
That was probably the best pitch he's thrown thus far. I know it's early. It's only the third batter of the game, but he had trouble finding the strike zone in his first two batters, so we'll see if he can settle down a bit here.
Again, he was excellent against Monmouth last year in 6 2/3. Gave up just 3 hits, and another one right at the knees. The spinner finds strike 2.
I don't think Sweeney expected that. He kind of looked at the umpire a little bit surprised, but 2 very good pitches back-to-back thrown by O'Leary.
Sparta native ahead 0-2. Another curve. Got him. Strike 3 as Sweeney looked at 2 and swung over another curve.
That was a very good pitch by O'Leary. Got it up right there in the zone. Made Sweeney swing and miss.
Third baseman, number 21, Owen Stewart.
It's not often as Pat O'Leary picks up his first strikeout today with 2 away here in the first, that you talk about someone hitting .414 here on April the 17th. Well, that's the case for Owen Stewart. He'll foul it away. Now, much like Vinny Zerillo, Jay, who's Rutgers cleanup hitter, Rutgers leading hitter at .365, no home runs. Owen Stewart, .414, no home runs.
Batting average dipped 11 points since yesterday's game against Ryder. It was hitting .425 going into that game. Average went down to .414 coming into this afternoon.
Out of St. Rose High School in Belmar, drives one out to center. O'Grady will range to right center to make the play and end the inning. So a leadoff single for Gronsky, but O'Leary retires the side after that. He played a half an inning. Rutgers coming to bat. No score between the Scarlet Knights and Monmouth on RVision. Presented by AT&T. Pat O'Leary settles down after giving up a leadoff single to Jake Gronsky. The crowd is enjoying this weather today. You see the tent set up as fans come in to the Livingston campus in Bainton Field. Anthony Chivarella will be the starter today for the Monmouth Hawks, the freshman out of Phillipsburg High School in West Jersey, as they call it. 1-1 with a 7.71 ERA on the year, making his 4th start, giving up over a hit per inning, 9 strikeouts to 8 walks. He'll face this Rutgers lineup today. Matt Tietz will hit first. He plays third. Nick Favatella, the second baseman in the 2-hole. Ryan O'Grady, the 3-hitter and center fielder. Vinny Zerillo, Rutgers leading hitter, plays left and cleans up. Jeff Malillo, the Johnny Bench Award watch lister, the catcher, will hit 5th. Steve Zavala, who had a good day yesterday, the right fielder, hitting 6th. Charlie Law, the first baseman, 7th. Ross Costello gets the start today. He'll DH and hit 8th. And Pat Sweeney, the shortstop, will hit 9th. There's Matt Tietz, the freshman, and Jay. Despite the 2 errors he made in a 15-1 loss to Seton Hall a couple of weeks ago, he has been excellent.
Yeah, he's really improved since that game. You know, there's some question marks about him. That was the first game of the year we've done, but he's done a lot to impress us since that day. It was almost 2 weeks ago.
And Tietz takes strike 1 at the knees from the freshman Chivarella, who led the state liners of Phillipsburg to section and group titles. And Tietz will pop it up down the first base line. Long look towards the side, and it's foul as Perrette tried to reach for it into the Rutgers bullpen.
Yeah, I think it hit off his glove. It was a really close one. He gave it a run, but just couldn't haul it in.
Tietz, one of 2 Scarlet Knights yesterday to have 7 plate appearances.
What was interesting to me about yesterday's game was all 9 hitters reached base twice safely each. That's an accomplishment.
And Tietz will foul it back.
Not everyone had a hit, but they all reached base safe twice each, at least. You know, in a 14-8 game, that's something you would see.
It was an 8-8 game. Rutgers led early, gave it up. John Young settled things down. The 0-2 from Chivarella, and he got him. Right down the pipe with a change. Tietz down looking for the first out of the bottom of the first. Nice off-speed from Chivarella.
Decent at-bat from Tietz as leadoff hitter, getting a feel for what Chivarella's throwing. Took the first strike at the knees. and then just got caught looking.
Brings up Nick Favitella, starting his 121st consecutive game for Rutgers. Second baseman hitting .283 and drives one out to right. Ranging is Sweeney toward the line. He'll make the play for the second out.
Yeah, Favitella tried to sneak that one right out of the park, Danny. He went deep yesterday and just didn't put enough under it that time.
It was Favitella's third home run of the year yesterday. We mentioned how hard it's almost impossible to hit a home run here opposite field as a righty. That said, if there is ever a day to do it, today might be it. There is no wind at a place that almost always is whipping around. Today, not the case. Brian O'Grady steps in. Rutgers' three-hitter takes a strike on the outside corner on a breaking ball from Chivarella. And I know the sample size was small, Jay, but Chivarella came in with Monmouth's worst ERA. Looks very good in the first three hitters.
Absolutely.
Upstairs, as I say that, he throws one to the backstop.
Well, had there been a runner on first, he would have advanced to scoring position there. But you and I did the game on Sunday, the rubber game that Rutgers won to salvage the series against Cincinnati, and that was a windy one.
That was. Started out at 1 o'clock, and you could tell right away there was going to be some issues in the field because of it. Chivarella pours one right down the pipe, make it 1-2. It's a Monmouth team that took 3 of 4 from Wagner over the weekend, riding some outstanding pitching. The 1-2 with 2 outs is down and in, and one of those pitchers over the weekend for Monmouth to host a complete game was Andrew McGee, the junior from Toms River South, high school teammate of Tyler Gebler. The 2-2, O'Grady fouls it away. Brian O'Grady hitting .264 this year, a home run, 14 RBIs. The home run in the first inning of Game 2 of the Seton Hall series. Junior from Warminster, Pennsylvania. And right up the middle, it's a base hit. And Rutgers answers the leadoff single from Gronsky in the first with a base hit of their own.
You know, Favitella swung early, flew out to right. O'Grady did his job, took some pitches, saw one he liked, and again, hit one similar to where Gronsky hit his. And Rutgers, as you said, Danny, has its first runner on base.
They bring up a man who had a first inning RBI yesterday. That would be Vinny Zerillo. He went opposite field for a double to drive in a runner. Zerillo, Rutgers' leading hitter on the year at .365. 18 RBIs, good for second on the team behind Charlie Law. He'll take low from Chivarella. Zerillo has hit the ball all over the place, and as a lefty, that is such a luxury. So many teams see lefty, and if they haven't scouted well enough, they'll shade over, and he can work that left field line. Has some room to do it here if he wants to. Head 2-0.
He was able to check his swing there. Zerillo is dangerous in the cleanup spot for Rutgers. Arguably their best hitter. Doesn't have power, but within the confines of the ballpark, he can really get the job done.
Lacey High School graduate takes upstairs 3-0. First time Chivarella has had an issue finding the zone for the Monmouth Hawks, who trail only Bryant in the NEC standings, and Bryant has the nation's longest winning streak at 19. Zerillo takes strike one.
Rutgers' dangerous scoring threat in the first inning as of late. So we'll see if they can keep that up here against Monmouth.
Have been excellent in first innings, as Jay just alluded to. Zerillo pops it up down the left field line. Would have been a very tough play for Bamford coming in from the left center field gap. And there's where that shading of Zerillo comes into account, Jay. He will work the left field line, and that time Bamford, halfway to center field, had no chance.
Stewart gave it a run as well, but that hit about 10 feet from both of them.
Jay, Rutgers has scored at least 2 runs in the first inning 6 times this year. 1 run in the frame 9 times. Full count with 2 outs. Off goes O'Grady. Zerillo, an outstanding at bat to work a walk.
Rutgers is in business. There are 2 down, but if you want anybody up in this lineup with 2 outs and 2 on, it's Jeff Melillo.
Senior from Annandale. North Hunterdon High School grad will have to take off his shin guards as he was ready to catch the top of the second. Anthony Chivarella will get his bearings. There's Brian O'Grady on second. He singled with 2 outs here in the first. Zerillo walked behind him. First and second, 2 away. Bottom one, no score between Rutgers and Monmouth. Out of conference tilt in the midweek. RU looks to make a run towards the conference tournament. They're tied for 3rd in the league. The weekend series, a big one, looming in the Steel City this coming weekend.
Well, they took care of business against Lafayette yesterday. This is a game that they need to win to keep the momentum up.
Melillo takes strike 1 on a change. Jeff hitting .286, making his 33rd start in 34 games. Got the day off yesterday. R.J. Devish, the freshman, caught. I think some of that had to do with Melillo taking a little bit of a knock Sunday against Cincinnati on a foul tip. And it's 1-1. Remember, Fred Hill and Rob Piacentini, if you were watching on RVision, came out to check on Melillo as that game went on. But got the day off yesterday. Veterans can get one of those every once in a while.
Well, it's nice to get other guys in, too, in the midweek games like Ross Costello, because you want to keep everybody fresh heading into the conference tournament.
Melillo in front 2-1. And here's where Chivarella has struggled. 8 walks in just 14 innings. He can make it 9 after his 2-out walk of Zerillo before. He's running in is Gronsky to talk to his pitcher, try to settle him down a bit. It's good leadership from the junior infielder.
Usually you don't see that from a second baseman. Usually that's the catcher's job, but Connor White stayed put. Gronsky did the talking.
White just a freshman, so that may have something to do with it. 2-1 to Melillo. He swings over a change, and that was the right pitch as Melillo was trying to zone one.
That's a nasty delivery from Chivarella. I guess whatever Gronsky said might have worked. See if he can get out of this 2-on, 2-out jam that he's in.
Melillo, 8 runs, 7 RBIs, 3 home runs last week. Candidate for the Senior Class Award. 2-2 with 2 outs, and it's a full count pitch coming up.
It's an important pitch coming up from Chivarella. You miss, and the bases are loaded for Zavala.
Also don't want to groove one here to Melillo with 2 runners that will be moving on. So Grady off second, Zerillo off first. Full count, 2 outs in the first. And Melillo down the line, twisting foul. Same spot as Charlie Law in the first against Cincy, Jay, that cleared the bases?
Yeah, just a little bit to the left of that. It's a good hit by Melillo. Just didn't like where it went.
It was Charlie Law who started that Sunday game. And with the bases loaded in the bottom of the first and Rutgers already up 1-0, ripped a bases clearing double.
Gave himself the lead.
The payoff. We'll do it again.
They had John Gaida, the Monmouth shortstop, really make Pat O'Leary work in the first inning. You got guys like Zerillo and Melillo doing the same thing to Chivarella. This may be a game. We have 2 midweek starters that don't usually go that long, where both bullpens will be needed.
1,078 wins for Fred Hill. A lot of that having to do with his management of the bullpen. Timeout call by Melillo, not liking how long Chivarella was holding that set. RU winning another home Big East series over Cincinnati. Lost to Seton Hall, but took series from both Villanova and Louisville to start conference play. Louisville at the time was number 4 in the nation. They still lead the Big East at 29-7, 7-2 in the league. There go the runners, and it's ball 4 as Chivarella walks back-to-back hitters to load the bases for Zavala.
That was a great at-bat for Melillo. Was patient, fouled a few off to stay alive, and it paid off for him. And now Zavala up here in a huge spot to try and make Rutgers draw first blood.
25 pitches already for Chivarella, and Dean Ehalt, the manager, will have a first-inning visit to the mound, and his freshman starter.
Well, on the road against an in-state rival, it's usually a game you want to win. In the first inning, the Scarlet Knights are already threatening with the bases loaded and 2 away, so Ehalt just wants to make sure that he could get the job done. Only a freshman, so it's a big spot for him.
Rutgers coming into today had drawn 43 walks in the last 5 games. You can add another 2 walks to that total. There's Steve Zavala. He'll be the hitter here, Jay. He had a no-doubter home run yesterday against Lafayette. It was his 3rd long ball of the year to go along with 16 RBIs for the senior out of Randolph.
Well, a base hit here, either way, would give Pat O'Leary a lead to work with, and that's what you want when you have a midweek starter, a guy that's not used to working too many innings on a consistent basis. Zavala, a veteran, will definitely be smart about this at-bat here, the way he approaches it.
And in hearing Zavala's comments yesterday on RVision following the Lafayette game, he said it was a lefty-lefty matchup. They tried to come inside. Let's see if Chivarella tries to go away. That's exactly what he does. It's 1-0.
Well, I think reading the scouting report coming into this afternoon's game, Chivarella already knowing Zavala went deep yesterday, so he's going to be very careful with how he approaches the Rutgers right fielder.
Bases loaded and 2 outs, bottom of the 1st. No score between the Scarlet Knights and the Hawks. And ahead 2-0 is Steve Zavala, and he can be very, very patient, as Connor White looked quite crossed up with his classmate Chivarella.
I'm going to miss the strike zone both times. Zavala waiting for a pitch that he likes here.
(2-0) with 2 outs, and it's a 3-0 count coming up to Steve Zavala with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the 1st. White will go talk to Chivarella. Chivarella mowed down the first 2 Rutgers hitters. He struck out Teets, got Favitella to fly out to right, and gave up a single to O'Grady, walked Zerillo and Malillo, and now is behind 3-0 to Zavala. As running down to the bullpen was Neil Harm, a senior from Steinert High School. So in the 1st inning, Monmouth already needs to get the bullpen up. Nonetheless, 1 out away is Chivarella from getting out of this thing unscathed. The 3-0. Fastball outside corner.
He was also 1 pitch away from walking in a run. Good patience there by Zavala, but that was a pitch that he needed to find the strike zone. He was able to do that.
And no doubt take sign given by Joe Laterio down at 3rd. Here's a zone pitch. 3-1 with 2 outs. They're loaded. Ball 4. Zavala walks in a run. It's Steve's 17th RBI of the year, and RU leads 1-0.
And that was exactly what Rutgers was looking for. Playing small ball. Only 1 hit this inning, 3 balls, and able to get a run in. 3 walks, excuse me.
O'Grady scores back-to-back-to-back walks following the O'Grady single. Hey, Charlie Law knows this spot pretty well. Coming up with a 1-0 lead and the bases loaded in the 1st inning.
And he's definitely licking his chops here, trying to pad this Rutgers lead early.
It was a first pitch fastball that he hit down the left field line for a bases clearing double on Sunday. That fastball at the knees apparently as White slid all the way across the plate to catch that one. Law, the first baseman, hitting .337 on the year, the senior from mainland New Jersey and South Jersey. He pops one up deep, I should say shallow to center field, way up in the air. Perry will come on and get it for the final out of the inning. So Rutgers leaves the bases loaded. But they get 3 walks and a hit. They score O'Grady. After an inning, it's 1-0 Rutgers on RVision, presented by AT&T. Well, Rutgers played a 3-hour and 39-minute game yesterday, and they play a 27-minute first inning today. RU 1, Monmouth 0 after an inning played. Danny Breslauer and Jake Goldstein here with you on RVision, presented by AT&T on ScarletKnights.com. Pat O'Leary gave up a leadoff single in the 1st and sat down Monmouth's 2, 3, and 4 in order. Rutgers picked up a run on a hit and 3 walks. Steve Zavala an RBI walk to give RU the 1-0 lead. Joe Bamford, Chris Perrette, and Kyle Perry to hit in the 2nd for Monmouth against Pat O'Leary. That's a ground ball towards short. Easy for Sweeney. Good hustle down the line by Bamford, but he's thrown out for the 1st out of the 2nd.
Well, you mentioned efficiency, Danny, and 1 pitch, 1 out. I think Monmouth heard you. But if you want to go back to Sunday's game against Cincinnati, that game was only 2 hours and 25 minutes, so I guess you take it. Some short, some are long.
And sometimes it rains.
Is that an actual quote?
No, it's sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and sometimes it rains. That's the quote.
Oh, all right. That's
the baseball quote.
Good way to alter it.
Chris Perrette, first baseman, takes ball one away for the Hawks. 267 hitter on the year. He is the one of two Hawks to start all 35 games this year to go along with Owen Stewart, and he'll line one into left center field. That's tailing away from O'Grady, who will field it in the gap and fire in to hold Perry to a single. So Perrette gets the single, and Perry comes to the plate.
Yeah, Perrette made a long turn around first base, thought about it, but then respected the arm of O'Grady, stayed at first for a one-out single.
Brings up Kyle Perry, the center fielder from Monmouth. Perry, the sophomore, can also catch a bit by trade. Toms River South High School, large Shore Conference influence as he'll flick one out to right field. Back-to-back base hits from Monmouth as Zavala sends it into third. Gronsky led off the game with a single much like that, as now Pat O'Leary will look to settle down with one out in the second.
Well, facing the same problem that Chivarella did in the first inning, only with 2 outs. Monmouth with a chance to maybe sacrifice the runners over with 2 on and only 1 away, with the back end of their order up.
Although Chivarella threw 30 pitches in that first inning.
Well, that was off of walks. I mean, these Monmouth players are swinging early in the count, and they have 2 base hits off of it in this inning alone.
Dan Shea, the DH for Monmouth, with 2 runners on and 1 out, top 2. Rutgers leading the Hawks 1-0 on a Steve Zavala walk in the first inning with the bases loaded. Shea, the freshman from Wilmington, Delaware, takes ball 1 low. He's a .244 hitter, making his 26th start. 1 home run, 10 RBIs. Fred Hill shouting encouragement to Pat O'Leary on the bump. Behind 1-0. And a fly ball towards left. Zarillo's going to have to charge this one, but he gets under it for the second out.
That's a big out for O'Leary. That takes away any chance of a sacrifice. You have your number 9 hitter. I think if you're O'Leary, you like your chances trying to get out of this inning. As White is only hitting 167 this year.
Connor White.
Connor White steps up against O'Leary, who made 9 appearances and 5 midweek starts last year. 2-1 with a 3.68 ERA and 36 2/3. One of those wins was against Monmouth down in West Long Branch. Also tossed 7 innings with 2 runs allowed against Hofstra on May 1st. 3 hits allowed for O'Leary through an inning and 2/3, but no runs across as he deals ball 1 low and away to Connor White.
The thing about White, Danny, he is not the Hawks' everyday catcher. This is only his 8th appearance of the year, 7th start. So midweek game, much like Rutgers did yesterday, giving him a little rest, allowing White to come in and get a start.
And he'll take a strike to even the count at 1s. They've done a combination of things, but Kyle Perry is a catcher by trade. Has seen time. And he pops one up. White does to third. Teets is there. Final out of the top of the second. So O'Leary gives up back-to-back singles but gets out of it with no runs allowed once again. We have played an inning and a half. Rutgers 1, Monmouth nothing. On RVision, presented by AT&T. Rutgers took advantage of 4 Lafayette errors yesterday to get the 14-8 win over the Leopards on the road. Today they're playing a much better fielding team here in the Monmouth Hawks. They lead the NEC opponent 1-0 after an inning and a half of play. Danny Breslauer, Jay Goldstein with you in the bottom of the second. 8-9-1 for Rutgers. Ross Costello, Pat Sweeney, and then back to Matt Teets at the top of the order. Jay, it's our first time here on RVision this year as Anthony Chivarella returns after a major struggle in inning number 1. First time seeing Ross Costello in the starting lineup in our broadcast schedule this year. Junior from South Jersey takes strike 1. Former club baseball player at Rutgers that caught the attention of the coaching staff?
Yeah, well, midweek start once again. You want to, give all your guys a run through, get them at bats. You never know who will be huge for you in the postseason.
Nubs one towards short. Guida collects and throws him out for the first out of the second. We'll give you more of Costello's story later on in the broadcast, but he was Rutgers' everyday third baseman before Matt Tietz emerged after a few games at the start of the year. Pat Sweeney, RU's number 9 hitter, steps in, the shortstop. 200 hitter, making his 31st start. Great glove work from Sweeney at short while he remains in the lineup. Home run, 4 RBIs. He takes strike one, says Carlos Dino Jr.
Well, he's been hitting, swinging a better bat, I should say, in the last couple of weeks since we've really been on air, because that first Seton Hall series, he was hitting in the 150s, and he's gotten his average up to 200.
Sweeney did reach base 4 times yesterday. And he's behind 0-2.
He had a couple of hits against Seton Hall in the Sunday game, so that's enough to raise your average a few points. Definitely getting your confidence level going as the regular season is winding down.
Has 21 hits, pair of doubles on the year. That's the extent of his extra base hits outside of the 1 home run. Count is 1-2 with 1 out. Bottom 2. Rutgers leads Monmouth 1-0. Chivarella in the dirt. Interestingly, Jay, in the first, Chivarella retired Tietz on a K and then got Fabitella to fly out first pitch. After 6 pitches, he had 2 outs, and then it went single, walk, 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 and all of a sudden Rutgers led 1-0. Pop up by Sweeney will get out of play.
Yeah, White gave it a good run. It's the second pop out. It bounced into the Rutgers dugout.
Gives them plenty of action. Fred Hill oftentimes will come out of the dugout himself to make some of those flips back to the umpire. Took over the Rutgers baseball program in 1984. Has led them to 11 NCAA tournaments. And Sweeney's down looking. The second backwards K for Chivarella. Around the 3 walks. There are 2 down in the second.
Yeah, I think the Monmouth bullpen has quieted down a bit as Coach Ehalt will try and ride Chivarella as long as he can.
You hate to burn your bullpen in the midweek. And you have so many important weekend games, especially for Monmouth trying to chase a regular season title in their league. Same for Rutgers as Tietz takes ball 1 low and inside.
Well, that's why John Young was so huge yesterday for Rutgers,
right,
causing Fred Hill to only use Nate Rowe and Young out of the bullpen. They have the majority of their guys fresh.
Tietz down the line. Got under the glove of Stewart and into the corner. Tietz goes for 2. The throw-in from Bamford will be cut off. Matt Tietz has has a double with 2 outs.
And Tietz just put that right down the line. Used his speed to get in scoring position for Fabitella with 2 away.
Second hit in as many innings for the Scarlet Knights. And Tietz on second with 2 away. Brings up Fabitella, who flew out on a first pitch fastball to right field in the first. 3 home runs, 16 RBIs on the year, and a .442 slugging percentage for the Washington Township High School grad from Sewell. Ball 1 inside from Chivarella. In 5 appearances coming into today, Chivarella has only thrown 14 innings. So take that into account. He's not known for going much deeper than 3 or 4 innings, 2-3 innings in a start. Behind 2-0. And again, it's with 2 outs that he struggles here. Got the first 2 of the first, gave up the Rutgers run through a sequence of walks. And now here, retires the first 2 hitters of the second, gives up a double to Tietz. Chopper by Fabitella. It's off the glove of Stewart and down the line. Tietz will score easily. Fabitella on to second. We'll see how they score it, but either way, Rutgers up 2-0.
That was a great hit by Fabitella if they give him one. Could put an error on Stewart, but nonetheless, Rutgers plates their second run, whether it be earned or not. And that's another run lead for O'Leary.
Rutgers starts the picket fence. A run in each of the first 2 innings to take the lead.
They're not putting an additional hit up. Yes, they are, so they're going to score that a hit, an RBI double for Favitella.
Favitella's 8th double of the year. And Rutgers leads 2-0. Now O'Grady in the lefty-lefty matchup.
You know what, that was a hard hit ball by Favitella. Can't really fault Stewart too much. It wasn't a routine grounder. So you give the hit, Rutgers with a 2-0 lead.
Turf tough to play for a team that plays on grass. O'Grady's behind 0-2.
Now we'll see if Chivarella can settle down and retire O'Grady. With Favitella slowly widening his lead off second base.
Brian got the business started in the first by singling. He ended up scoring on the 3rd walk, the Zavala one. 0-2 with 2 outs. Just missed away to Chivarella.
I think he tried to get O'Grady to chase. O'Grady, with that veteran presence against a freshman, knew not to try and swing wide on that one.
Here in the second, Rutgers has tested Owen Stewart. Both Teets and Favitella doubled. Now O'Grady into right field, a base hit between Gronsky and Perret. The throw home from right from Sweeney will be cut off. Scoring is Favitella, an RBI single for O'Grady. 3-0 Rutgers.
And O'Grady already 2 for 2 in the first 2 innings as the dugout comes out to congratulate him. Favitella for coming home to score. And Rutgers just padding its lead and giving O'Leary something to work with.
O'Grady's 15th RBI. That one shot through the first and second base hole.
Well, for the second consecutive game we've done here on RVision, Rutgers jumps out to an early lead that will certainly help their pitching. And the longer O'Leary could go, the less Fred Hill has to use his bullpen.
Zerillo ahead 1-0. He walked in the first. And Jay, you alluded to the fact that yesterday, after Reed Shuttle made the first start for a Rutgers freshman since Jerry Elsing did in 2010, it's over a 130-game stretch. The bullpen was able to settle things down, count 1-1. Nate Rowe was hit around a little bit, but then John Young came in through 4 2/3 of relief, gave up just 1 hit, struck out 4 and walked nobody, hit 2 batters.
Impressive stat for me, Danny. He only needed 51 pitches to finish the game.
Zerillo takes strike 2, and you're right, that's very important. Hit those 2 batters, and those are the only 2 above the minimum that he faced.
Well, I think if you're Rutgers, if you can avoid using Corsi and Lasky today, Lasky struggled a little bit on Sunday, save them, keep them rested for the Pittsburgh series, especially now that you have the lead.
There goes O'Grady. Zerillo up the middle, a base hit. First to third goes O'Grady easily. And a single for Zerillo puts runners at the corners with 2 outs.
So we'll see how short of a leash Chivarella has now, with Rutgers already getting 2 runs on him this inning alone after retiring the first 2 hitters. And so far, no movement in the Monmouth dugout. They'll keep him out on the mound for now.
4 straight hits in this inning for the Scarlet Knights, as O'Grady, who was going, joins Joe Laterio at third base to talk things over. Now Jeff Malillo comes up with Rutgers holding a 3-0 lead, bottom 2, against a more than capable Monmouth side.
Already the 7th batter of this inning for the Scarlet Knights.
They sent 7 to the plate in the first inning as well. Now Malillo, who walked in the first, as 2 others did as well, will foul 1 back. Malillo comes into today hitting .286. 4 home runs to lead Rutgers, 17 RBIs. 3 of those 4 home runs coming in the midweek last week against Iona and Columbia. Chivarella misses away to even the count at 1. O'Grady on third, Zerillo on first. Corners and 2 away in the second, with RU holding that 3-0 advantage.
We get to have a 1-2-3 inning for either team.
The 1-1 is way upstairs. There goes Zerillo, the throw down by White, and Zerillo's caught in between. He'll try to hang up in the rundown, and he's out. The run will not score as Zerillo is caught stealing in the rundown. So the Scarlet Knights get 4 straight hits in the second, and they'll get 2 runs. It's 3-0 RU after 2 innings of play on RVision, presented by AT&T. Another quick start offensively for Rutgers. RU reached double digits in hits for the 16th time of the year yesterday in their win over Lafayette. They already have 5 hits through 2 innings here. Rutgers leads Monmouth 3-0, top of 3. Danny Breslauer, Jay Goldstein with you here on RVision as Monmouth goes back to the top of the order with Gronsky, Gaida, and Sweeney. But Jay, Pat O'Leary spotted a 3-run lead.
And now we'll see what he can do with it. Had a pretty uneventful first inning, gave up a leadoff hit to Gronsky. Got into some trouble in the second, got out of that. We'll see if he can try and work a 1-2-3 here.
Breaking ball drops in for O'Leary, and it's a well-placed breaking ball because Gronsky jumped on him early in the count and hit a single opposite way in the first. That was it, where O'Leary shut it down after that. And the strike-throwing O'Leary has that one flare down the line off Gronsky's bat for strike 2.
Lawns Zavalabo giving that a look, but fell in foul territory.
O'Leary went to the County College of Morris in 2011 after making 11 appearances as a freshman at Stony Brook University. Came into Rutgers highly acclaimed from Morris and misses upstairs to make the count 1-2. At the, and I won't call it MCC because around these parts that's Middlesex County College, but Morris County College, he went 5-3 in appearing in 22 games. That's a ground ball through O'Leary and into center field for a base hit. 2 for 2 for Jake Gronsky.
Yeah, he's having a good day. He likes what he's seeing from O'Leary, and 2 straight leadoff singles in the first and third innings for the Monmouth second baseman.
Goes to his middle infield mate now, John Gaida. Shortstop flew out to center field in the first.
The shortstop, John Gaida.
Gaida really made O'Leary work in that first at-bat, though.
267 hitter, 2 home runs, 18 RBIs. And Melillo snap throw to first. Law uses all 7 foot of his wingspan to bring that in.
That was a good heads-up throw by Melillo. For a split second, I thought they were going to get him.
Sparta High School grad Pat O'Leary, former first-team All-Group 3. And that's driven into left center. O'Grady on his horse gives chase, and he makes the play! Retreating is Gronsky. He'll have to go all the way back from around second. The throw by Sweeney is not in time. But what a play by Brian O'Grady.
That was a fantastic over-the-shoulder catch by the Rutgers center fielder, and they nearly got Gronsky doubled up at first. Law with a nice scoop to make the catch, but wow, what a catch from O'Grady. That looked like a double right off the wall. I honestly think Gronsky would have scored from first.
Oh, easily, no doubt.
Wow, what a play.
Was already well around second base, had to touch up the bag on his way back. Craig Sweeney struck out in the first. Takes strike 1 from O'Leary, and what confidence that gives Pat O'Leary just to hit the zone the way his outfielders. We know Zerillo already ranged one to the left field line. Zavala very capable in right.
Gaida 2 straight flyouts to center.
O'Leary misses breaking ball away. 1-1 count, 1 out, top of 3. Jake Gronsky, who is 2 for 2, is on first base, but Rutgers leads Monmouth 3-0 with 5 hits.
Well, I think after a catch like that, you're going to see O'Leary be a little more aggressive.
Ground ball towards Teets, and it's through him and into left field. There will be an E5 on Teets, and set up first and second with 1 out.
That could have turned into a double play there. Teets has to not be too happy about that one.
Owen Stewart.
And without question, Jay, it's a tough hop off the turf there. Kind of got through his armpit, but if he makes that field, throws on to second, we're looking at a sure double play. Instead, it brings up Owen Stewart and his over 400 average. He did fly out to center in the first. He's got runners on first and second with one out in the third. And a ground ball up the middle. Sweeney can't get there. It's into center field. O'Grady will not make a throw. Scoring is Gronsky, and it's 3-1.
And that's exactly not what Rutgers wanted. Could have gotten out of the inning with a 3-0 lead. Instead, 2 on, 1 out, and Stewart comes through, plates Monmouth's first run of the afternoon.
For Owen Stewart, he'll raise that .414 average and get his 21st RBI of the year. That good for second on the team. To this man, Joe Bamford, left fielder, grounded out to short to lead off last inning. Both teams getting multiple at-bats here in the first 3 innings of play. Bamford takes strike one. 350 hitter who does not get the necessary kudos because of the man in front of him hitting .414.
But reaps the benefits of Stewart getting on, which is why he's a team leader in RBIs.
Bamford checks. Count is 1-1. I think the most interesting and maybe impressive stat between Stewart and Bamford is that between the two of them, a .473 OBP and a .404 OBP. So they are on base a lot. Strike at the letters. It's 1-2 to Bamford now with 1 out. Third inning, Gronsky came in on a Stewart RBI single. Scarlet Knights have an RBI walk from Steve Zavala and back-to-back RBI singles from Nick Favitella and Brian O'Grady. It's Pat O'Leary, senior for Rutgers, holds on to a 3-1 lead in the third. The 1-2. Chopper toward Teets. He can step on third for one and throw on high. And it's over Law's head. Charging for third now will be Stewart. He'll come home. The throw will be wide, and the tag is in time. Melillo got to the plate, retiring a double play that will go 5-3-2. And Rutgers gets out of the inning, giving up just 1 run. 3-1 Scarlet Knights after 2.5 here on RVision. New pitcher for Monmouth as Rutgers has a 3-1 lead heading into the bottom of the third. There is Neil Harm meeting with his freshman catcher Whites. Harm, the senior from Hamilton, New Jersey, and Steinert High School. That's the alma mater of Rutgers men's soccer coach Dan Donegan. Harm on the year for this Monmouth team. 0-2 with a 7.5 ERA, making his 7th appearance out of the pen. Throws just an inning per appearance, so Jay, we are in for a multitude of pitching changes today for this Hawks team.
Chivarella did not get the job done.
Through just 2 innings, as Melillo, who was up when Zerillo was caught stealing to end the second, will lead off the third. He is 0-for-0 with a walk back in the first. He fouls that one off down the line. Neil Harm comes in at 6'1", 185 pounds. As Chivarella goes 2 innings, gives up 5 hits and 3 runs. He walks 3 and strikes out 2.
Not the outing that Ehalt would have wanted for a starter in the midweek.
Not when your bullpen needs to be good to go for NEC play, as Harm deals low to Melillo. To recap how that third inning ended, probably need a break in between hitters to do so, but it was a 5-3-2 double play. It was a lot more complicated than it sounds. Count 2-2. Bamford was up with first and second and 1 out and 1 run already in for Monmouth. Hit a chopper toward Teets at third, who went to the third base bag, stepped on it, and threw across the diamond high of Law. Count full now to Melillo. Now, Gaida, check that, Sweeney, who was on second, was retired on the play at third. Stewart, who was at first, kept chugging all the way around third after the throw high and was thrown out at home by Law on a great dive by Melillo to make the tag. And here is Jeff Malillo, skying one out to left. Bamford will return the favor for the 5-3-2 DP and make the catch.
So one away fairly quickly as Neil Harm gets underway.
That pretty much sums up which was a wacky ending to that third. Officially from Jimmy Gill, and love the clarification here. We'll give you one thing in a moment after Steve Zavala takes strike one. He walked with that RBI and the bases loaded in the first inning. You have to give an E5 on the throw to Matt Tietz, so it's his second error of the game. However, it is a 5-3-2 double play nonetheless, as Zavala takes strike two. So, Jay, you give Tietz the put out at third. He throws high. That's the error because Stewart gets the third. And then when he tries to score 5-3-2 on the double play.
It's the second game in 2 weeks that Tietz has already had multiple errors early. He tends to settle down in the later innings.
And in the span of 3 days, we have now seen a triple play here at Bainton, turned by Cincinnati on Sunday, and now a 5-3-2 double play with an error in it. 2-2 now to Zavala with one out in the bottom of the third. Steve Zavala has drawn 8 walks over the last 5 games and 2 innings. He'll foul that away and keep working the count. It was something he mentioned in his RVision post-game interview yesterday, that just working on his approach at the plate, trying to take more pitches, trying to zone one. Coaching staff does preach being aggressive, but in his case, wanted to slow himself down a little bit. Count still 2s. In the midweek, Rutgers, with the Lafayette win yesterday, took games from Iona and Columbia 2 weeks ago. As Zavala drives one out to center. Perry is right there for out number 2. Jay, you mentioned momentum in the midweek. Rutgers had a momentum killer against Fordham, a 15-14 loss last week. They have bounced back since.
Well, a couple wild ones going on the road in the last couple of weeks. Hopefully they settle down a little bit heading into Pittsburgh this weekend. Came up short against Fordham, took 2 or 3 from Cincinnati. Came back to beat Lafayette yesterday, and now playing Monmouth this afternoon.
Charlie Law flew out to center with the bases loaded in the first to end the inning, after Rutgers got the 1 run from Zavala's walk. It's 3-1 Scarlet Knights, bottom 3. And now a 2-0 count to Law with 2 down. Monmouth got its run in the top of the third on an Owen Stewart RBI single. Law chops it foul. RU's runs on a Zavala first inning walk, and then back-to-back RBI singles in the second from Nick Favitella and Brian O'Grady.
Well, Rutgers did what they had to do yesterday, took care of a Lafayette team that fell to 6-31. So taking care of business against an opponent that they should beat.
Hitters count for Charlie Law, 3-1. Just a bit low. The Scarlet Knights worked their 4th walk of the game. And Law reaches first with 2 outs. And Jay, the trend continues for Monmouth in the sense that they worked 3 walks and got a hit with 2 outs in the first. With 2 outs in the second, they had 4 consecutive hits. And now here in the third, 2 outs to start the inning, just like each of the first 2. Now Costello out after a Charlie Law walk. And he'll be first pitch swinging and fly it out to right center. Perry to the gap makes the play to end the inning. 3 flyouts for the Scarlet Knights in the third around a Law walk. Scarlet Knights 3, Monmouth 1 after 3. On RVision, presented by AT&T. Beautiful day to come out, watch the game. So many are doing today in Piscataway on the left field hill. It's 3-1 Scarlet Knights as we go to the top of the 4th here on RVision. Jay, the entire press row has been chatting during the break about how to score that third inning double play from Monmouth. Officially 5-5-3-2 plus an E5. That coming on Teat, stepping on the bag, throwing high, Law chasing it down, firing home to throw out Owen Stewart. It'll be Chris Perrette to lead things off in the fourth for the Hawks. He singled in the second and takes strike one from Pat O'Leary. And unlike Anthony Chivarella, who went just 2 innings, and then Neil Harm came on for Monmouth, O'Leary trying to eat up some innings here for the Scarlet Knights.
Bit of an off-speed pitch there from O'Leary, way outside. You saw him a little set up his glove outside the strike zone.
3-5-2 for Rutgers, 1-5-0 for Monmouth. Another off-speed attempt by O'Leary, flutters away. It's 2-1. Picture perfect, no wind.
You couldn't ask for better baseball weather.
No doubt. This is it. If you want to script it every single day, I think this is how they do it in San Diego. It's 3-1.
Except for July.
Behind Perrette is Perry and Shea, with White, the 9-hitter, potentially up behind them, as working a leadoff walk is Chris Perrette.
The center fielder
For O'Leary,
Perry.
it is his first walk of the game. That's very important. He stays in control, continues to throw strikes. Kyle Perry, who singled right behind Perrette in the second. Here's a sacrifice chance if we've seen one today so far between either side. And instead, bat on the shoulder for Perry, takes strike one.
You know, O'Leary couldn't really find the strike zone in Perrette's at bat, but first pitch to Perry, right down the middle for a called strike.
31st start for Perry. Taps that one into the glove of Melillo for strike two.
It's a nice cut by Perry, but it's what you want if you're O'Leary, ahead in the count on a hitter.
Looking back to earlier in the month when Rutgers knocked off number 4 Louisville. First series win over a ranked team since beating Pittsburgh in April of 2010, and they'll really want another series win over Pittsburgh over the weekend if possible, because that's a Panthers team that's in the top 25 in some college baseball polls currently. Perry fouls that one away, and right now Rutgers, they know their legitimacy in the Big East standings, and I think that those top 6 have distanced themselves a bit. Louisville, USF, Connecticut, Rutgers, Pittsburgh, Seton Hall. Georgetown, St. John's, Notre Dame, Cincy, Villanova, all capable, but I think there's a clear differentiation between those groups. Breaking ball, chopper through the hole into left field. Back-to-back hits by Perrette and Perry again, and 2 runners on and nobody out in the fourth.
Matt Teets with 2 errors looked very hesitant on that last play. Could have made a charge for it, but I think there was a bit of a miscommunication between him and Sweeney. Neither of them went for it. Perry put one right in the gap, and now it's Monmouth, 2 on, nobody out.
And unlike some head coaches, as Melillo will go talk to O'Leary, Dean Ehalt coaches third himself. And Joe Laterio will start walking down to the Rutgers bullpen down the first baseline to see who's working or who's ready to work. Dean Ehalt giving out signs down at third base for the Hawks, the winningest coach in Northeast Conference history. He's led them to 11 NEC championship games. 6 hits already for Monmouth, but they trail Rutgers 3-1, top of the fourth. Shea squares to bunt, offers at it terribly. The throw down by Melillo to second is not in time as Perrette gets back on a slide. Shea just tried to stab at that and missed. Flew out to left in the second, did Shea, the designated hitter. Rutgers in at the corners. Monmouth will be leaving the NEC to join the MAC, the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Shea not bunting this time, 1-1. Certainly conference realignment, very fluid. Rutgers heading to the Big Ten in 2014. Not 100% sure on this, but I think Monmouth will be joining the MAC sooner. The 1-1. That's through the legs of Malillo. Both runners will move up. Perret to third, Perry to second. It's a rarity for Pat O'Leary, just his second wild pitch of the year. Came into today only having thrown 9 2/3 across his 4 appearances. Now runners on second and third, nobody out, top 4. Rutgers leading Monmouth 3-1. Shea takes strike 2 on a 2-seam fastball that tails back in over the inside corner. Game time temperature yesterday was 65 degrees. Venture to guess we're about 10 degrees above that today. 2-2. And Shea drives that deep to right field. Zavala going back to the track, to the wall. It's off the wall on a hop. Scoring easily is Perret. And Perry has to hold at third. So just an RBI double for Dan Shea, and it is 3-2.
Monmouth really taking advantage here in this inning. Put 2 runners in scoring position. I thought Perry could have came home on that one. Good call by Eholt, holding him at third. But Monmouth within only 1 run.
Casey Gaynor will come out to talk to Pat O'Leary, who gives up his 7th hit here in 3+. And Rutgers' lead is just 3-2 now, and Monmouth has second and third and nobody out here in the top of the 4th. There's the action in the Rutgers bullpen, coming in the form of Charlie Lasky. The junior from Freehold, we saw him on Sunday against Cincy, struggled to find the plate, hit a couple batters. He would like some redemption, I'm sure. But O'Leary still on the bump. Jay, to your point before, as Monmouth has started the 4th with a walk, a single, and a double, Perry just must have had a bad read on that ball going to the track, because it was over Zavala's head pretty much from the get-go. Maybe O'Grady's catch earlier making him apprehensive. Connor White, the 9-hitter and catcher. Second, third, nobody out. He popped out to third in the second inning. Takes ball 1 high from O'Leary. Rutgers played 23 straight road games to start the year. That was the most of any team in Division I. Today their 9th home game, and now White sends one into left field. Perry scores, Shea up a station to third, and Monmouth, all with nobody out, has tied the game at 3.
The second baseman,
O'Leary,
Jake,
getting himself into a lot of trouble right now. Not doing anything about it.
White gets his 4th RBI of the campaign, and that'll do it for O'Leary. Second mound visit of the 4th. Fred Hill, the long walk out. Charlie Lasky will come on. Monmouth hits around O'Leary for 8 in 3+. Gives up just 3 runs, but 2 runners on are his as well. It's 3-3 between the Scarlet Knights and Monmouth. A pitching change in the top of the 4th on RVision, presented by AT&T.
The second baseman, Jake.
Charlie Lasky, the new pitcher for the Scarlet Knights. He'll come on in relief of Pat O'Leary. Lasky, who we last saw on Sunday against Cincinnati, will try to turn the tables from that outing. The junior from Freehold and Colts Neck High School will face the top of the Monmouth order, Jake Gronsky, John Gaida, Craig Sweeney, with first and third, and nobody out in the top of the 4th. Lasky hits the outside corner for strike 1. Jay was aiming a little bit on Sunday, hit a couple batters, and was pulled quickly.
Yeah, he's definitely looking at a chance of redemption here.
Gronsky is 2 for 2 with a pair of singles and a run scored. 2 runs in from Monmouth here in the 4th to chase O'Leary. Count evens at 1. 3 runs on 8 hits and no errors for the Hawks. 3 runs on 5 hits, 2 errors for the Scarlet Knights, who have won 3 of the last 4. Monmouth winners of 4 or 5. Toward right field again from Gronsky. Another base hit for him. Scoring is Shea, on to second is White, and it's 4-3 Monmouth.
Well, I think that'll close the door on... Oh, no, it won't close the door on O'Leary. Still a runner on second, but Monmouth takes the lead on that one, 4-3.
John
3 for 3 with a trio of singles for Gronsky, and he adds an RBI now. And a 3-run 4th inning so far with nobody out and 2 runners on for the Hawks to take a lead. We have played an hour and 15 minutes of baseball and have played 3+. Lasky off-speed pitch, misses low. The appeal is no swing. John Gaida, shortstop, 0 for 2 today, has flown out to Brian O'Grady in center field twice. Rutgers last in the NCAA tournament 2007 with the Todd Frazier-led crew that went down to Charlottesville. Strike 1 from Lasky. Monmouth last in the NCAA's 2009 when they lost to Ole Miss and Missouri in the Oxford Regional after winning the NEC championship. The 1-1 off-speed pitch hits the knees, strike 2 from Lasky. Pat O'Leary still responsible for the man on second base, that Connor White, who had an RBI single. First 5 runners of the 4th inning have reached for the Hawks. The 1-2. Chopper towards Sweeney. He'll have to charge. Tough play. Long throw. Got it. Stretch by Law. Runners move up to second and third as Gaida is retired for the first out of the 4th.
It was a good play by Sweeney. Got him by a half a step there. It's been a long inning for Rutgers.
The right fielder, Craig Sweeney.
Greg Sweeney steps in. He reached on an error in the 3rd, struck out in the 1st, so he's 0 for 2. Had Sweeney with some good glove work. Told you that's the main reason why he starts every day. Off-speed pitch from Lasky, lifted out to center field by Sweeney. O'Grady makes the catch. Tagging is White. He will score easily. And it is 5-3 Monmouth here in the 4th.
It's a second out, but Sweeney did the right thing, lifted it right to center field. O'Grady was there. Throw really had no chance. Monmouth, quite the turnaround. 4 runs in this inning to take the lead. Rutgers was once leading 3-0.
So a sac fly 8 and an RBI for Sweeney is his 16th of the year, and it brings up Owen Stewart with 2 outs and a runner on second here in the 4th inning. 4 runs in for the Hawks. They lead the Scarlet Knights 5-3, and Lasky misses away to Stewart. Single and an RBI for him in the 3rd. Flew out to center in the 1st, so he's 1 for 2. We'll close the book on Pat O'Leary in a moment. That one out toward right. Zavala's there to end the inning, but Monmouth sends 8 hitters to the plate in the 4th, and against O'Leary and Lasky, they get 4 runs after 3.5. Monmouth 5, Rutgers 3 on RVision, presented by AT&T.
Yeah, not a good day for O'Leary. You know, he had a lead, and he just wasn't able to hang on to it for the Scarlet Knights this afternoon.
Neil Harm, who came in relief of Anthony Chivarella, who was ineffective as well, back out for his 2nd inning of work and deals strike 1 to Sweeney, who struck out looking against Chivarella in the 2nd. With Chivarella that went just 2 innings, gave up 5 hits and 3 runs, walking 3. Sweeney toward the left center field gap. Long run for Perry, and he'll watch it 3-hop to the wall. Perry backhands it. Sweeney an easy 2 and a leadoff double.
Sweeney trying to start this Rutgers rally here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Great way to do so in a ground rule double.
The third baseman.
There's a rally starter to answer a 4-run top of the 4th by the Hawks. And it turns over the lineup card too, Jay, against Neil Harm, the reliever here for Monmouth. And now Teets can do a couple things with this. He is 1 for 2 with a double and a run scored. Fouls that one away. He also struck out in the first looking. Has made a pair of errors in this game, his second multiple error game in 3 weeks, but he has been very good in the leadoff spot, making his 24th start and hitting over 300. 0-1 from Harm. Changeup settles in at the letters. Against the freshman from West Milford, New Jersey, Pope John the 23rd. That's where he went to high school. Oh, 2. Teets snubs it foul. 3-6-2 for Rutgers. 5-9-0 for Monmouth. If you're just joining us, the Hawks got a run on an Owen Stewart single in the 3rd and scored 4 runs in the 4th. RBI singles by Connor White and Jake Gronsky. RBI double by Dan Shea, and a sac fly RBI by Craig Sweeney. Give you the RU rundown in a moment. Harm spins and turns. First inning, bases loaded walk by Steve Zavala, and back-to-back RBI singles in the 2nd by Nick Favatella and Brian O'Grady. It's the Rutgers scoring. 5-3 Monmouth, bottom of the 4th. Fouled away by Teets. Sweeney's on second with a leadoff double. After the Pittsburgh weekend series in the Steel City, RU goes to Newark, Delaware, to take on the Blue Hens. Come back home against Wagner before an awesome opportunity that we'll detail in a moment. Harm's 0-2 upstairs. Rutgers will go to Omaha, Nebraska in late April. Doesn't happen often after you finish out of conference play. At the TD Ameritrade Classic, they'll take on Oklahoma State, Creighton, the host in Omaha, and Nebraska. 1-2, Teets strikes out. He will run down to first, force the throw from White, and there's one down. Second time that Matt Teets strikes out today.
And once Sweeney, once looking.
Nick Favatella.
But yeah, that's just a great chance for Rutgers to play where they play the College World Series out there in Omaha against 3 big-time schools.
Yeah, it should be fun. Wish we were going.
And they go to Hofstra and Hempstead to finish up April before a game home against Delaware. Nick Favatella in. RBI double in the 2nd. He takes strike 1 from Neil Harm, says Carlos Dino Jr., our home plate umpire today. Then we'll have May 3rd and 4th on RVision of the 3-game UConn series on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th here at Bainton Field. And then Georgetown in the 3-game series will have the Mother's Day doubleheader at 1 and 4. The 0-1 to Favatella is upstairs just a little bit, 1 and 1. And then RU ends the year at USF. There's a 4-day break before the Big East Championship, so potentially I'd imagine Rutgers will stay down in Clearwater, Florida, since they're already going to be there. The 1-1. Favatella, another chopper down the line. This time Stewart does have it and throws across the diamond. Tough play.
Great play by Stewart.
Oh, they'll rule it foul down the line. They'll rule it foul. Excuse me, did not catch that. Third base umpire Richard Franco had his hands up, calling it foul. Stewart did make a nice play over the bag, and it was the last time Favatella sent a chopper down there that it got through, and for an RBI double down the line. There it's ruled foul. And it's just strike 2. Sweeney's on second. He led off the fourth inning with a double. And that one's a wild pitch, so how about that after Favitella was almost retired on a chopper toward third. Sweeney will move up to third with just one out.
Heads up base running by the Rutgers shortstop.
For Neil Harm, his first wild pitch of the year. Favitella with new life will step in. 2-2 with one out, bottom four. Make it full count. Sweeney's on third. Argue with a run in the first, 2 in the second to take a 3-0 lead before Monmouth got 1 in the third and 4 in the fourth to take the 5-3 lead they hold now. 5 runs on 9 hits, no errors. Rutgers 3 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors. Harm to Favitella, the 3-2 is chopped foul. A big lacrosse weekend on RVision this coming weekend. Kyle Franco will join me for both. It'll be men's lacrosse taking on Duke at Ursack Field on Saturday night at 7, and women's lacrosse taking on Loyola, Maryland, 1 p.m. Sunday at the RU Turf Field. Both right here on ScarletKnights.com. Favitella stays alive. On deck is Brian O'Grady, who's 2 for 2 with a pair of singles, an RBI, and a run. Just one out here, bottom of the fourth. Sweeney getting instructions at third from Joe Laterio. And Nick Favitella in the midst of a lengthy at-bat, going on 8 pitches now with Neil Harm. Former South Jersey Group 4 champ at Washington Township High School. We'll keep going. Mentioned to Jimmy Gill yesterday after the 3-hour and 40-minute game at Lafayette that Rutgers was due for a 2-hour midweeker. Not so much today. 2 hours for 4 innings, almost. And Favitella, after falling behind, works an excellent walk to put runners on the corners and 1 out.
That's what patience at the plate does for you.
Center fielder,
13th walk of the campaign for Favitella, as Harm will have to collect himself. Sweeney will be on third, Favitella on first, and Fred Hill will occasionally try some things with these corner situations. Brian O'Grady, 15 RBIs on the year, steps in. It's actually the go-ahead run here in the bottom of the fourth. Good curveball from Harm for strike 1. Monmouth opened up the 2013 season by defeating Villanova, a team that Rutgers swept in Plymouth, Pennsylvania. 1-1. It was a 7-6 win over the Wildcats. Kyle Perry had 3 hits. He already has 2 today. The throw over to check on Favitella will get by Perrette. Scoring on the throwaway is Sweeney. Up to second is Favitella, and it's 5-4.
It's a very costly error by Monmouth as the tying run moves into scoring position with the very capable O'Grady, who's already 2 for 2 on the day.
You can give that error to either the pitcher or the first baseman. They'll give it an E1. So Harm takes the error to allow Sweeney to score and Favitella to move up to second. And now O'Grady's ahead 2-1. 5-4 Monmouth. 1 out, bottom 4. And every time the Hawks try to extend their lead, Rutgers jumps right back. In the outside corner, a take from O'Grady to even the count at 2. It was last year that the Scarlet Knights defeated Monmouth and West Long Branch 8-1. Charlie Law actually finished the game up for Pat O'Leary. Law playing first base today. O'Grady flicks that one out towards left. Going back is Gaida. It's over his head. Favatella to third. A base hit for O'Grady, his third in as many at-bats.
He's feeling it today.
Just an excellent flick of the wrists from Brian O'Grady, who picks up his 36th hit of the year. And the only man other than Favatella with more hits on the team, and the team leader in hits, steps up. That is Vinny Zerillo. Zerillo with 47 hits on the campaign, hitting .365 coming into today. He's 1 for 1 with a single and a walk. Ball one from Neil Harm. Monmouth's bullpen starts to loosen up a bit down the third base line. Chivarella and Harm have been roughed up a bit, as have O'Leary and Lasky for Rutgers. The 1-0. Make it 2-0. Corners and one out for Rutgers in a wild one so far. RU has played some high-scoring midweek games. Beat Lafayette 14-8 yesterday, lost to Fordham 15-14 a week ago. Another throw over by Harm. He's a brave man, Jay.
He is.
Zerillo toward left. Bamford has a decision to make. He'll catch it in foul territory. That will allow Favatella to score and tie the game at 5. It's a sac fly and an RBI for Vinny Zerillo. Jay, I know you need outs here in the fourth, but that's one where if Bamford wanted to, he could have let it drop down in foul territory and lived to tell it without Rutgers getting that 5th run.
Yeah, questionable decision, especially when the other runner's all the way over on first.
So O'Grady will stay at first. Rutgers 2 runs in the 4th to respond to Monmouth's 4 spot. An error from Harm on a pickoff move, and then a sac fly. Rutgers with a hit and a walk as well, as Jeff Malillo 0 for 1 with a fly out and a walk will take his cuts as the 6th hitter of the inning for Rutgers. And it's 1-1. Both teams with 5 runs. They've combined for 16 hits and 3 errors. Harm to Malillo, and a breaking ball chopped towards third. This one clearly foul as opposed to Favatella's. Mentioned that the offense for Rutgers has reached double figures in hits 16 times this year, including yesterday. They have 7 today. They've given up 9. The 1-2 from Harm. Malillo chops it foul. Rutgers did score first, Jay, and they are 14-2 when scoring first this year.
Well, they battled back. It was 5-3 coming into this half of the inning.
And they actually came into today 3-6 against lefty starting pitchers. Chivarella, the lefty, was hit around by Rutgers for 3 runs in 2 innings. Breaking ball misses up. It's 2-2. We're at Bainton Field in Piscataway on Rutgers Livingston campus. Danny Breslauer, Jay Goldstein with you on RVision. It's 5-5 between Rutgers and Monmouth, bottom 4, and Malillo strikes out swinging. It's Harm's 2nd K as Malillo will have a no-contact day continue, but Rutgers gets 2 in the 4th. It's 5-5 after 4 on RVision, presented by AT&T. Charlie Lasky, who came in relief of Pat O'Leary in the 4th inning, will return for the 5th. It's 5-5 between the Scarlet Knights and the Hawks. Against Harm, the first run of that inning was earned, the second run unearned after the error. Bamford right back off of Lasky, makes the stop, the throw to first in time.
That one had to hurt.
It did, and Rob Piacentini will start his walkout with Fred Hill toward the mound.
Hit Lasky right in the shin, was able to step up, retrieve it, and make the throw to first.
Bamford's had some tough luck today. He's grounded out twice and also grounded into that 5-5-3-2 double play. As you get a look at Chris Perrette, ready to hit when Rob Piacentini is done checking out Charlie Lasky, who says he's okay. Good play by Lasky to knock down that ground ball from Bamford and get the first out of the 5th. Jay, this pace has frankly been brutal so far today. Neither side kept a lot of flow to the game, but both offenses are clicking. 16 combined hits, and it's 5-5 in the top of the 5th. Lasky hits the knees with a strike to Chris Perrette, first baseman, 1 for 1 with a single and a walk and a run scored. He was the first of 4 runs to score for Monmouth in the 4th. One from Lasky. Just missed. Lasky appeared in 16 games out of the pen last year, making his 12th appearance today, 1-0, 3.94 ERA, and 16 innings pitched. Count now 3-1. His sister played soccer at Wagner College, a NEC member of Monmouth. 3-1 driven to right. Zavala comes on, second out.
I like that at bat by Perrette. This is the first time for him that he didn't get on base. Singled and walked, as Danny said. Flew out to right. Zavala was there. And Lasky trying to pick up the pace of this game for sure.
We have yet to see a 1-2-3 inning in this game. We've seen multiple times where the first 2 hitters are retired and then something went on to happen. Kyle Perry, who's 2 for 2 with a pair of singles, takes ball 1.
Yeah, Rutgers has scored a run in 3 of their first 4, while Monmouth has scored in the 3rd and the 4th.
2-0 now. And where Rutgers did all of its damage was with 2 outs in the first, as Malillo will go talk to Lasky. With 2 outs in the first, they got a single and 3 walks. That scored a run. With 2 outs in the second, they got 4 straight hits. That scored 2 runs. Had a 2-out walk in the 3rd. And then they were able to get a sac fly with 1 out and score on an error as well. And here the 2-out curse continues as Lasky falls behind 3-0 on Perry. Top of the 5th inning, it is 5-5 between Rutgers and Monmouth. Ball 4. Still no 1-2-3 inning from either side.
And Perry's reached base 3 straight times.
Designated hitter, Dan Shea.
Dan Shea steps in, had maybe the drive of the day. Out to right center field for an RBI double in the 4th inning that frankly should have scored 2 runs. But poor read off the bat from Perry kept him at 3rd. Lasky will step off. Shea also flew out to left in the 2nd. There goes the runner. Breaking ball. Malillo's throw down to 2nd is not in time. As stealing it will be Perry. Monmouth does not run often. And Perry is 3 for 4 Monmouth improves to 15 of 27 on the year.
Well, he's their guy, it seems like. Good heads-up base running by Perry to get the go-ahead run into scoring position for the Hawks.
Dean Ehalt on the third base line, has to be happy with that. The Middletown, New Jersey native. His Monmouth career, now 542 wins. Lasky hits the middle with a 1-0 to even the count. .630 winning percentage in NEC play for Ehalt. Former Brookdale Community College player who transferred on to East Carolina. Always one of the premier baseball programs in the country. The 2-1. Lasky falls behind 3-1 here with 2 outs.
Starting to lose his control here a bit.
He has looked much sharper than he did on Sunday. Count is now full. Kyle Perry walked with 2 outs here in the 5th, stole second. That's where he is. Payoff pitch coming with 2 away. And a chopper toward Favitella at second. That'll retire the side as Lasky works around a 2-out walk. 5-5 between Rutgers and Monmouth after 4.5 on RVision, presented by AT&T. 5-5 between Rutgers and Monmouth as we go to the bottom of the 5th. There's your new pitcher, Adam Uninger. For Monmouth, Uninger, the sophomore from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and Manheim Township High School. 4-0 on the year, Jay. 2.86 ERA. He's actually a midweek starter, Uninger, making his 9th appearance. 5 of them are starts. 28 in the 3rd. He's been excellent. 23 hits, 21 strikeouts, a bit of a control issue with 18 walks. But Uninger, the midweek starter, will come on to face Zavala, Law, and Costello in the 5th. And Zavala quickly into left center field, a base hit. Into the gap goes Perry. Steve Zavala chugging for 2. The throw in, not in time, head first slide. Leadoff double for Steve Zavala.
I was going to say, Monmouth looking for some long relief to try and settle this Rutgers lineup down. That wasn't the case there. The go-ahead run already in scoring position with no outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning, and Rutgers looking to go to work.
98% of the time, after a Fred Hill team gets a leadoff double, I would say bunt. And Charlie Law, the way he's swinging the bat, he knows he'll give it up if he wants to. And he won't square and takes a breaking ball high against Uninger.
Well, Charlie Law's got the power to hit a 2-run shot right out of here and give Rutgers the lead. It's a perfect day for it, too, Danny. We were talking about that before the game and also early in the broadcast.
He's 0 for 1 with a walk today. And Charlie Law shoots one into right center field, a base hit. Perry goes to get it. Scoring is Zavala. Law going for 2. He's there. An RBI double for Charlie Law, and Rutgers leads 6-5.
That's exactly what Rutgers needed to do, coming in, attacking Uninger early in his appearance at the mound. For the Hawks already, 2 hitters, 2 hits, and a run scored.
For Charlie Law, he has now recorded an RBI in 11 of the last 12 games. And Uninger will look to find his stuff against Ross Costello. Law's on second with the RBI double. Nobody out in the 5th. And Costello pulls back on the bunt. Now that is what we thought Law wouldn't do because of his power, but here with Costello 0 for 2 today. The 114 hitter coming in, a contender to bunt.
Law doesn't have a ton of speed, so if he does bunt here, it has to be a well-placed one.
First baseline would be preferable. Costello takes strike 1. Running down to the bullpen for Monmouth was Jeff Paglione, a right-handed pitcher. 9 hits for both sides, 2 errors for Rutgers, 1 for Monmouth, but the Scarlet Knights lead Monmouth 6-5, bottom 5. Costello squares, pops it up, foul. Chasing it down is White, but it will hop to the screen. This will force Costello most likely into a swing-away situation with 2 strikes.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught looking, trying to bunt. Nobody out, though. Costello has a little bit of freedom.
One, 2 from Uninger, and Costello into center field. Took a breaking ball and sent it out to Perry. Law being sent home. The throw from Perry is wide. 3 straight hits for Rutgers to start the 5th. They lead 7-5.
And instead of Uninger coming in to stop the bleeding, he's continued with a run-scoring barrage. Rutgers scoring runs in 4 of their first 5 frames. And in a back-and-forth game, they're now up by a couple of runs, trying to give Lasky a bit of support if he comes out for the 6th.
Charlie Lasky, who came in relief of Pat O'Leary for Rutgers, would be in line for a decision. Chivarella, Harm, and now Uninger. Rutgers has figured out all 3. And with that hit, Rutgers in double figures in hits for the 17th time this year. Pat Sweeney, he'll look to bunt and pull back. Sweeney today, 1 for 2. Leadoff double in the 4th, struck out in the 2nd. He did come around to score on an E1 by Neil Harm on a pickoff move. Rutgers 1 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 4th, already 2 in the 5th with nobody out. Monmouth 1 in the 3rd, 4 in the 4th.
Yeah, there's been no pace today, but it's been an exciting one.
Called strike on Sweeney outside corner. Count even at 1.
Busy bullpens, a lot of decision-making for the managers.
It's bearable only because of the weather.
And because we're having a good time calling so many runs crossing the plate.
Well, that said, it's bearable because of the weather. And I think most would say with the pace of this game, if we were talking about a March 15th game against Iona and 45-degree weather, wouldn't be as pleasant.
We'd all be going into the Winnebago in between innings for hot cocoa.
Yeah. I don't think Colin Osborne serves that up.
We'll bring him some.
Off first is Costello. He had an RBI single here in the 5th. Sweeney will not bunt and take ball 2. Since coming on, Adam Uninger has given up an RBI double to Charlie Law, an RBI double to Ross Costello, and a leadoff double by Steve Zavala.
Every pitcher up until Uninger.
Sweeney, the bunt down the first base line, fielded there by Perrette, throws low, scooped out by Gronsky. And moving up on the sack is Costello.
I was going to say,
a third baseman.
Everyone that has pitched, aside from Lasky, off the hook for a decision. Rutgers holds on right now. Uninger wouldn't get the loss.
Here's Matt Tietz. 5th hitter of the inning for Rutgers. Tietz is 1 for 3 with a double and a run scored and a pair of strikeouts. Fists that one towards right. Perrette going back. It's in no man's land and it falls down for a base hit. Tietz into second with a double. Going on to third is Costello. Well, when it rains, it pours for Monmouth. And for Rutgers, finding every single hole.
Second baseman, Nick.
That one dipped in between 3 blue jerseys.
And Costello didn't have a good read on it either because he's at second, ends up at third. May have had a chance to score. 7-5, Rutgers leads Monmouth. Scored 4 runs over the last 2 innings and now have second and third and 1 out. Nick Favatella takes high. He doubled and scored in the second, walked and scored in the fourth, flew out to right on his first pitch faced in the first.
Getting a little bit of a breeze coming in now.
On second is Teets with a double. Costello, who had an RBI single, is on third. And it's now 2-0 as Uninger has struggled mightily. And working much quicker now in the bullpen are the Hawks in the form of Paglione. O'Grady with a perfect day is on deck. The 2-0. Spun in there for a strike, and one that Uninger really needed. Rutgers would like to save the pen as much as they can for the weekend against Pittsburgh, but they will have a couple days to rest. Used Rowe and Young behind Shuttle yesterday. Favatella fouls that back. It's 2-2.
I think Uninger just needs to throw strikes any chance that he gets.
Seven runs on 11 hits and 2 errors for Rutgers. 5 runs on 9 hits and 1 error for the Hawks. Second and third, 1 out for Favatella. And he strikes out on a foul tip. The throw down to get Costello at third is nearly in time. Sliding under it was Costello as Stewart caught the throw from White. So Favatella down swinging for Uninger's first strikeout.
Stewart tried to sell that a little bit, took a couple steps towards the dugout to end the inning, but third base umpire said nope.
Well, Uninger's in a bad spot. It's either face Brian O'Grady or face Vinny Zerillo. Zerillo is 1 for 1 with a walk, a single, and a sac fly, but O'Grady, the man up, is 3 for 3 with an RBI single. 3 singles today. Second and third, 2 outs. Good block by White to save a run.
Yeah, it's kind of like pick your poison. I don't see an intentional walk happening here. We did see Charlie Law get intentionally walked. Cincinnati did that. But even though O'Grady is 3 for 3 today with a ribby, if you're Uninger, you just opt to pitch to him.
And Uninger deals up and away. It's 2-0.
O'Grady, a very patient hitter, getting ahead in the count. Being patient does pay off for him. He's not swinging early in counts, and he already has 3 hits. We're just in the bottom of the 5th. If he can get 4 hits in 5 innings, it's impressive.
This isn't normally where Uninger struggles, giving up hits. He's normally walking people where he gets into issues. And O'Grady will pop one straight up on 2-0 and may bail Monmouth out of a few more runs. Guida makes the catch to end the inning, but the Scarlet Knights rack up 4 hits and a pair of runs after 5, 7-5 RU on RVision, presented by AT&T. Top of the 6th, Rutgers 7, Monmouth 5 on a beautiful day in Piscataway. RU putting up 2 runs in that 5th inning as Charlie Lasky will stare down 9-1-2 for the second place team out of the Northeast Conference, Monmouth. RU doing exactly what they did to Monmouth last year offensively, but when it comes to pitching, Scarlet Knights have given up 9 hits here and 5 runs. Held Monmouth to just 1 run last year behind O'Leary and Law. Today it's O'Leary and Lasky, with Law playing first. White is 1 for 2 with an RBI single, and he's ahead 2-0.
Well, once again, Rutgers has a lead for their pitcher. O'Leary couldn't hang on to it. Now the test is whether Lasky can.
Count now 3-0. Steve Zavala, who led off the 5th inning with a double and eventually scored for the Scarlet Knights. He went 3 for 5 with a career-high 4 RBIs last year against the Hawks, as that's strike 1. Bill Herman, who does not get the start today, went 4 for 5 with 2 RBIs.
I think the ideal situation for Rutgers would have Lasky be the bridge to Corsi if they can hang on to this lead.
Ideal, as it's a leadoff walk for White.
The second baseman.
For Lasky, it is his second walk. He came on with nobody out and a pair of runners on in the fourth. After O'Leary went 3+, giving up 8 hits, 5 runs all earned, a strikeout and a walk. Top of the order for Monmouth. O'Leary drops the curveball in the outside corner as Jake Gronsky is 3 for 3 with a trio of singles, an RBI, and a run scored. You can hear Fred Hill from our field mic. You can also hear the teammates of Charlie Lasky. It's very confusing because Fred Hill's calling him Charlie. His teammates are calling him Chuck.
Yeah,
he goes by both.
Fred Hill also likes to throw around the word babe. Bit of encouragement. You hear that no matter who's on the mound. It's just a signature call.
He's earned that right in his 30th year as head coach.
He talks, the players listen.
The 1-1. Right off the outside corner for strike 2. Jeff Malillo looks back to the dugout to Casey Gaynor for the signs. And the former Rutgers ace gives him the call. On first with the leadoff walk here in the 6th is Connor White. Malillo snap throw. Law again using all of that wingspan. It's a luxury to have a 6'8" first baseman.
Looking like a wide receiver. He doesn't haul that in. White goes into scoring position. Risky business for this Rutgers team.
One of those midweek games you want to keep your confidence heading into Big East play on the road this weekend at Pittsburgh.
Well, in a very back-and-forth game, Rutgers on the right side of it at the moment, trying to hang on to this lead.
2-2 from Lasky, off-speed pitch, popped up in the air. So O'Grady, who was 3 for 3 for Rutgers and popped out to short. Gronsky was 3 for 3 from Monmouth and popped out to short for the first out of the inning.
Good start, holding Connor White at first base, but now you have the lead of the order coming up with Guida, Sweeney, Stewart, and Bamford in the next inning. So this is a really big test for Lasky. Rutgers bullpen looking kind of quiet.
Guida's 0 for 3. Takes the strike on a curveball by Lasky. Charlie Lasky adjusts his arm angles often. Throws a lot more off speed than fastballs. There's another one. It's 0-2.
Nice to see Lasky getting ahead of his hitter. Guida, as you said, Danny, 0 for 3 today at the plate. Struggling a bit.
Flew out to center in the first and third, grounded out as the second hitter to face Lasky in the fourth to short. 0-2 with one out. Chopper towards short. Sweeney has one play. That's at first. And he throws high and wide. Law makes the tag. Almost saved for the third time today. The wingspan of Charlie Law, a major player.
The right fielder, Craig.
Now, do you think Sweeney called off Teach there? Because that's the second consecutive time a ball's been hit there today. And Teach just looked hesitant, kind of like made a move to get it. It was a nerve reaction.
That's Sweeney's play. That's Sweeney's play all the way.
Well, Teach with 2 errors today. I mean, looks a little hesitant in his fielding now.
Either way, that's got to be the shortstop's ball, I would think. As Craig Sweeney steps in, sac fly and an RBI in the fourth, off of Lasky. It was O'Leary's run. Strike on the outside corner. Officially 0 for 2 today for Sweeney. Struck out in the first, reached on an error in the third inning, and then had that sac fly in the fourth. 7-5 is Rutgers' lead with 2 outs, top 6. Good block by Jeff Malillo. Rutgers will play its conference tournament. Big East tournament down in Clearwater, Florida, again this year, just by the campus of USF. Excellent breaking ball.
For the final time.
That's right. Final time for Rutgers in the Big East before they join the American Athletic Conference for a year, and then on to the Big Ten.
It's a beautiful, beautiful ballpark down in Clearwater.
1-2, Lasky up and in.
Got to see a couple of Philadelphia Phillies spring training games there. It's a sight to see down there. Right over the bridge. 3 miles from the beach.
While Rutgers is at USF, Monmouth will be in Lakewood, New Jersey for the NEC tournament. 2-2 with 2 outs. Oh, Lasky gets bailed out by Melillo on a backhand.
That one was coming for us.
Our broadcast set up just to the right of home plate at field level. Full count with 2 outs from Lasky. Ground ball past Teets on a dive. Being sent around is White. The throw-in by Zerillo is wide of home. Scoring on an RBI single is White. Sweeney gets the credit. It's 7-6.
Once again, in a back-and-forth roller coaster game, Monmouth finds themselves within a run.
Stewart.
And with their top hitter up. And Fred Hill will take the walk out to the mound. The hat has been flashed from the bullpen, the indicator that all are ready. Both teams with double digits in hits. There's Moose with the right hand extended, and he will go to the bullpen. Howie Bray, the freshman lefty, will get the call for RU after this. Top of the 6th, it is 7-6 Rutgers here on RVision, presented by AT&T. Howie Bray is your pitcher for Rutgers, the freshman lefty, 5'10", 180 out of Middletown South High School. Bray, who seemingly warms up every game, is making his 14th appearance out of the pen. 1-2 with a 3.6 ERA. Has thrown 15 innings in those 13 appearances. 15 strikeouts to 6 walks for a good ratio. And with a man on first and 2 outs in the 6th, he'll face Owen Stewart, Monmouth's top hitter at .414 coming into today.
Now for the Monmouth. Baseman Owen Stewart.
Howie Bray, the former 4-year varsity starter for Middletown South, is now settled into a situational relief role for the Scarlet Knights. Throws over to check on Craig Sweeney. 6-4 a year ago with a 1.94 ERA at the high school level. Strike one at the knees to Stewart. Took Middletown South to the Central Jersey Group 3 title. Monmouth with 1 run in the 3rd, 4 in the 4th, 1 run in here in the 6th. Bray just a bit low, count 1-1. Looked like a pretty good spot for the Scarlet Knights. 1 run in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th. 7-6, the Rutgers lead, top 6. Bray, the snap throw. 1-1 count, 2 outs in the 6th inning with Sweeney, who just had an RBI single off of Lasky. Chopper to short, Sweeney. Across the diamond, it's low. Law the pick. That ends the inning. 1 in for Monmouth. We've played 5.5, 7-6 Rutgers on RVision, presented by AT&T. So after a rough 5th inning, Adam Uninger returns for Monmouth here in the 6th. He'll face Vinny Zerillo, Jeff Melillo, Steve Zavala, Rutgers 4, 5, and 6 hitters. RU sent 7 to the plate in the 5th, getting 2 runs. 7-6 Scarlet Knights, bottom of the 6th. And Zerillo takes up and away. Danny Breslauer, Jay Goldstein here with you. Vinny Zerillo 1 for 1, He has singled, been caught stealing, walked, and hit a sac fly. Fouls it straight back. Zerillo, 365 hitter on the year to lead Rutgers. His 441 on base percentage also leads the team. Now 1-2. And why that's even more amazing by the numbers is that his average is up from 226 a year ago. Made 26 starts as a true freshman and has really come into his own as a sophomore. Count 2-2. Fair to say he's playing his best baseball since his senior year at Lacey High School. 2-2. Count now full. Rutgers got runs on a Steve Zavala bases loaded walk in the first, back-to-back RBI singles in the second from Fabatella and O'Grady. And he gets a walk here for Zerillo, who drove in one of those runs via his fourth inning sac fly. The others came off an error from Neil Harm, an RBI double by Charlie Law, and an RBI single by Ross Costello, as Jeff Melillo will hit with a man on and nobody out.
Big spot here for Melillo coming up with Zerillo off of first base and lead again down to 1. So if Rutgers can get a couple of insurance runs, they'll definitely take them.
And Dean Ehalt will take his walk out to the mound after Adam Uninger struggled through an inning plus. Jeff Paglione has been throwing down in the pen for quite some time now, the sidewinder. And he'll signal for it. Here comes Paglione. We'll tell you about him after this. Nobody out, bottom 6, Rutgers 7, Monmouth 6 on RVision, presented by AT&T. Sidearm throwing right-hander Jeff Paglione will be the fourth pitcher for Monmouth on the afternoon turned evening. Sophomore from Mantua, New Jersey, Gloucester Catholic High School. For Paglione, he's 1-0 with a 2.91 ERA, making his 14th appearance out of the pen. 21 2/3, 19 hits allowed, 14 Ks and 10 walks. J. Dean Ehalt has needed to manage this pen extremely today, as has Fred Hill, although he's only had to use 2 pitchers so far.
Well, McKenna clutch for Monmouth yesterday, going 7 in the win over Ryder, so that preserved the bullpen a bit, but today he has no choice but to go with his bullpen as the first pitch is a strike.
Melillo 0 for 2 today. He walked, flew out to left, struck out. Sidearm delivery, outside corner, strike 2. And Melillo, who shakes his head after not getting the bunt down here in the first 2 pitches, will have to reassess the situation. Zerillo led off the 6th of the walk. He's on first. Paglione outside. O'Leary went 3+ for Rutgers, gave up 8 hits, 5 runs all earned, struck out 1, walked 1. Charlie Lasky went 2 2/3, gave up 2 hits, 1 run, walked 2. Howie Bray now on for Rutgers. He's only faced 1 batter to date and retired him. The 1-2 with nobody out. Changeup tantalizingly hung up at the letters and went outside. I think Jeff Melillo is telling Paglione to put that one about 3 inches to the left. That'd be batting practice. There goes Zerillo. It's outside. The throw down by White is in plenty of time to get Zerillo. It's the second caught stealing of the day of Vinny Zerillo.
And that takes away the chance of having your lead runner in scoring position. which makes this at bat all the more important for Melillo as the count is full.
Vinny came into today 8 for 8 on the base paths.
Well, that's broken. Now 8 for 10.
Full count pitch to Melillo, and he'll foul it away. It's much like Zach Granite, the leadoff hitter for Seton Hall, who came in here a couple of weeks ago at 18 of 20, I believe, or 18 of 21, and then caught twice. The full count pitch. Melillo continues to work counts. He worked to count full in the first, got a walk. Worked another count full before striking out in the fourth. And it's not rare for a senior catcher to be smarter at the plate than your average bear. Paglione has another one fouled away. First pitch today was at 3:30. This is not an archived version of the sixth inning, we assure you. 2 hours and 20 minutes in. We are in the bottom of the sixth. And Melillo strikes out for the second time today.
Not doing a great job putting contact on the ball. Did fly out to left in his second at bat, but taking a lot of pitches, patience, and it didn't pay off for him there.
Here's Steve Zavala, 1 for 2, doubled and scored in the fifth. Walked, and that was an RBI in the first with the bases loaded. Flew out to center in the third. Zavala has reached base safely 6 times in the last 2 games. 4 times yesterday against Lafayette. Hit his first home run yesterday since 2 at William and Mary and 1 at Old Dominion early on in the year. And it was a bomb to right field in Easton. Tapped foul, count 1-1. Steve Zavala's brother Michael on the roster too, a catcher. Out this year. Families very, very much the trend here with Rutgers baseball. Zavala towards second on a slide. Gronsky's going to have to throw to Paglione, covering, and Zavala's head-first slide gets him there in time.
Miscommunication there by Monmouth on that one. You saw Perrette have to come out. And the pitcher was a little late covering first, so
baseman,
couldn't get out of the inning.
Charlie Law.
It's an infield single for Zavala. 12th hit for Rutgers. Charlie Law comes up after hitting an RBI double last inning. And Jay, you're right about that miscommunication by Perrette. He needs to stay back, let Gronsky go make that play. First pitch, Law swinging for the down, strike 1.
Yeah, you saw the idea he had with that swing and miss.
Hit a pair of home runs last year. Has one this year to go along with a team best 29 RBIs. Count 1-1. Law, a very accomplished pitcher for Rutgers as well. One of 20 players in the country to both pitch and hit. Ahead 2-1. Remember, for RVision baseball purposes, we're back here the Friday and Saturday games of the Yukon Series, May 3rd and 4th. And then the doubleheader on Mother's Day Sunday the 12th against Georgetown. That one fouled off of White. We'll get some time from Carlos Dino Jr. 2-2's the count. Very focused, Charlie Law there. Give me some introspection about this at bat.
Well, based on how this game's gone, Danny, 1-run lead is not enough.
No.
So Rutgers is really trying to tack on a couple more here.
Had a couple lead changes. And Law into left field. A pair of hits for Charlie. And Rutgers with 2 on and 2 out.
Costello coming up now in a big spot at a ribby single his last at bat. No doubt a base hit here will score Zavala from second.
Designated hitter, Ross Costello.
It's Charlie Law's 35th hit of the year. Will raise his average over 340. How tough is that? 340 average, and you're hurling 8 innings of 3-hit ball the other day. Ross Costello takes ball 1. The DH is 1 for 3 with the RBI single that Jay alluded to. Bottom of the 6th, Rutgers leads Monmouth 7-6 in a game that has 23 combined hits between the two teams. Runners on first and second and 2 outs, and Costello takes strike 1. Rutgers fans less than thrilled with the call. On deck, Pat Sweeney, the RU9 hitter. The 1-1. Ground ball towards short. The diving stop there by Guida will save a run, but everyone reaches. Bases are loaded.
Rutgers with a chance for some separation in this lead. Nice hit by Sweeney. He'll get a couple in.
3 straight singles for Rutgers from Zavala, Law, and Costello. Zerillo had walked to start the inning but was caught stealing, and then Malillo struck out. So all of this once again done with 2 outs. As has been the trend today, we have not had a 1-2-3 inning at all from either side. Sweeney has the bases loaded and takes strike 1 from Paglione. More action in the Monmouth bullpen. They are on pitcher number 4 already. Throwing down there is Charlie Battis. Count 1-1. $14 hits for Rutgers. Bases loaded, 2 outs, bottom 6. Sweeney will take strike 2. He is 1 for 2, doubled and scored in the 4th. Had a sac bunt in the 5th and struck out in the 2nd.
Well, there's nowhere to put him, so Paglione's either going to get out of this inning or Rutgers is going to add to their lead.
Rutgers had 1 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th. Trying to keep the crooked numbers going here in the 6th. Two and 2.
It's a good pitch from Paglione. Trying to get the veteran to chase outside. No go.
Sweeney, the junior, everyday shortstop for Rutgers. 2-2. Payoff pitch coming up. Full count and 2 outs and the bases loaded. On third is Zavala. On second is Law. On first is Costello. They all singled here in the 6th. Pat Sweeney against Jeff Paglione. We'll do it again. The merry-go-round was underway. Former first-team All-State prep in New Jersey. For Pat Sweeney, the graduate of Blair Academy. Strike 3 inside corner as Sweeney looks at a sidewinder. Fastball on the inside. So Paglione loads the bases but gets out of it to end the 6th. 7-6 RU on RVision, presented by AT&T. Who retired Owen Stewart to end the 6th, will pitch the top of the 7th for Rutgers, or at least started against the lefty Joe Bamford. 7-6 Rutgers. Close the book on reliever Adam Uninger for Monmouth. He'll go 1+, give up 4 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 1 strikeout, 1 walk. As Jeff Paglione struck out 2 in relief of him, while giving up 3 hits. Howie Bray will bounce one in for ball 1 to Bamford, who has grounded out 3 times. Once in a double play, 5-5-3-2. Once to the shortstop and once back to Charlie Lasky, the pitcher. Lines out now to Favatella. He's 0 for 4.
Joe Bamford was a part of, as we were just talking about, probably the craziest put out to this game so far.
Yeah.
Correct.
So ground ball to Matt Tietz at third. Stepped on third with first and second. Threw over to first high. That was an error. Law chased it down and threw Stewart out at home trying to come around. Bray drops a curveball into Perrette for strike 1. Chris Perrette, 1 for 2, singled, walked, and flew out. But that was a double play that you mentioned to end the third. Perrette toward Favatella. The sure-handed second baseman has 2 putouts in a row.
And you see Monmouth swinging early in the count up in this inning, trying to just find something that's going to work against Bray. And if you're on the Rutgers side of things, you want Bray to kind of settle down and hopefully put this game away.
You said it. Bridge the gap to Corsi. And if Rutgers can go O'Leary to Lasky to Bray to Corsi, I think they would be thrilled. But that would involve 4 more outs from Howie Bray here in the top of the 7th with 2 away. It's Kyle Perry. He's 2 for 2 with a pair of singles, a walk, a stolen base, and a run scored. And he pops it up behind home plate. Can Melillo find it? He has room. It is the first 1-2-3 inning of the day for either side. 7th inning stretch. Rutgers 7, Monmouth 6 here on RVision. So after an eventful 6th inning of work for Jeff Paglione in relief for Monmouth, he'll return for the 7th. After coming in for Uninger, Paglione struck out 2, gave up 3 hits. Loaded the bases while bookending those 3 hits with strikeouts. Top of the Rutgers order, bottom of the 7th, Tietz, Favatella, O'Grady, with Rutgers leading Monmouth 7-6 in what I won't call a crucial midweek game, but a big midweek game when it comes to momentum.
Yeah, it is all about momentum, Danny. You said it. I mean, you want to bridge the gap to Pittsburgh and, sweep your midweek games.
Tietz tries to bunt for a hit to lead off the 7th, will foul it off. 2 doubles for Tietz and a pair of strikeouts, so it's been feast or famine for the freshman.
A couple of errors over at third as well.
Runs scored, so we'd be remiss not to say that Matt Tietz has been very active in this game on both sides.
Say, yeah.
Danny Breslauer, Jay Goldstein here with you on RVision at Bainton Field in Piscataway. 7-6 Rutgers, bottom 7 against Monmouth. Paglione, nasty off-speed sidearm pitch. Strike 2, 0-2.
I think we capped off the heat for the afternoon. It's cooling off a bit.
We'll be praying for these days in a few weeks. And Tietz strikes out for the 3rd time today as Paglione has 3 Ks here in an inning and a third.
Second baseman.
Tietz's stat line looking like a double-decker sandwich. K, 2 base, K, 2 base, K. So, bit of an eventful day for Tietz.
Favatella on. Double and an RBI in the 2nd. Walked and scored in the 4th. He's got 2 runs scored. Also struck out and flew out, so on the whole, 1 of 3. Takes ball 1 away for Favatella, starting his 121st game in a row for Rutgers.
I think that's a streak he'd like to carry out for as long as he can while he's here.
Up the middle. And that's the reason why you start 121 games in a row. A single with 1 out for Favatella in the 7th. It had been since before Nick Favatella had last not started a game in a Rutgers uniform since Fred Hill started a freshman pitcher until yesterday when he goes with Reed Shuttle. That the first since Jerry Elsing went on May 29th of 2010. And that was before Nick Favatella donned a Rutgers uniform. which happened the following spring. Brian O'Grady, 3 hits today. Had 3 singles in the first 4 innings, scored in the first, flew out to short in the 5th. 3 for 4. Favatella's on first with 1 out in the 7th, and Rutgers up a run. Outside corner from Paglione, strike 1.
Taking an interesting approach to O'Grady, who does have 3 hits today. Trying to attack him in the strike zone. Will not give him a pitch that they'll want to hit.
Chopper up the middle. Taken there by Gronsky. On to short for 1, to first. Not in time as O'Grady beats it. Guida thought he had the turn with Perrette, but instead just a fielder's choice that goes 4-6.
He really gutted it out for that one, Danny. Beat him by a half a step for that.
First base umpire David Perry adamant about the call. As Vinny Zerillo will get a swing here in the bottom of the 7th with 2 away, as O'Grady reaches on the fielder's choice. Strike 1. Zerillo walked twice, been caught stealing twice, singled, and hit a sac fly for an RBI.
I mean, a lot of these hitters have had busy days. I mean, between the 2 teams, you have 25 hits.
Zerillo to short, line drive out into the glove of Guida. Favatella gets a single but is retired on a fielder's choice, and Paglione works out of a little bit of trouble. We have played 7, Rutgers 7, Monmouth 6 on RVision, presented by AT&T.
South Bend, Indiana at 6:30 p.m.
8-9-1 for Monmouth in the 8th inning. Dan Shea, Connor White, Jake Gronsky due up, 7-6 Rutgers. Howie Bray back out. Bray came on with 2 outs in the 6th. He has retired 4 straight Monmouth Hawks. Most effective pitcher across the board today. Deals strike 1 to Dan Shea, who is 1 for 3 with an RBI double, a ground out, and a fly out. Give you out-of-town scores in just a moment. Misses up and in, 1-1. So Pat O'Leary went 3+, Charlie Lasky 2 2/3, Bray now an inning and a third, and Jay Goldstein. How much would Rutgers and Fred Hill love it if Bray could go 2 1/3 and bridge the gap to Corsi?
Absolutely. That is well needed. I mean, Corsi, is a very important piece of this team as the closer, but if Bray can get the job done here, Fred Hill will be very happy.
2-2 now. Bottom of the 3rd in South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame leading Bowling Green State 6-0. Fighting Irish trying to get out of the bottom half of the Big East. Count now full. Rutgers' opponent this weekend, Pittsburgh. A final winner over Coppin State 10-4 in the Steel City. Shea a chopper to first. Law will take it himself. Out number 1. Coppin State and Pittsburgh actually playing a doubleheader already today, and I think that tells you enough about today's game, which has now gone 2 hours and 40 minutes. Coppin State taking the other one of those 2 over Pittsburgh 6-3. So Pitt splitting the doubleheader today.
There's just been so much bad weather all over the country. You see in the pros, Mets, Rockies.
Sure.
Played a doubleheader yesterday, postponed tonight.
1-1 count coming up to Connor White.
Snow up in Minnesota, rain in Pittsburgh. I mean, this is what you get in the spring. A lot of inclement weather. So Pittsburgh splitting the doubleheader with Coppin State today. You would think, though, Danny, one of those games had to have started around noon.
Mm-hmm. White is 1 for 2 today with a pair of runs and an RBI. Pops that one up, foul down the first baseline. Law will give it a look. It'll get into the Rutgers bullpen. Even the count at 2s. With 1 out, top of the 8th, Rutgers leading Monmouth 7-6. RU jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Monmouth took a 5-3 lead after 3.5. But Rutgers with 4 runs across the 4th and 5th split evenly, took a 7-5 advantage before Monmouth took one back in the 6th. 25 combined hits, 15 for Rutgers, and another full count back-to-back for Howie Bray, who has retired 5 Hawks in a row.
Monmouth down to their final 5 outs, so you're going to see a lot more patience at the plate.
Fouled away by White. One of the hottest teams in the country, Seton Hall Pirates, top of the 8th in South Orange. It is 2-0, Seton Hall leading Iona. It's the same Pirate squad that just took 2 of 3 from the number 24 team in the country, Houston, on the road. The 3-2. Nub foul.
The freshman doing everything he can to keep this at-bat alive. I've said this before, but 1 run, not a lot in this game, so Seton Hall could get on with 1 out and try and make something happen. They will.
For those of us just joining on ScarletKnights.com, it's Monmouth out of the NEC against Rutgers out of the Big East. Strike 3 as Bray gets White to swing over a change. It's Howie Bray's first strikeout today, and he has retired 6 Monmouth batters in a row.
There comes the pesky Gronsky, and he got on base his first 3 times, and he's really just been, he just won't go away. Rutgers having problems with leadoff hitters in the last couple of weeks. 2
away in the 8th. Bray's curveball settles in. Gronsky, 3 singles, an RBI run scored and popped out.
You remember the leadoff hitter, Zach Grana, for Seton Hall. They had trouble with Cincinnati's leadoff hitter.
1-1. Princeton and St. John's, top 1 in Queens, no score. And later tonight, Ohio State goes to Marge Schott Stadium to take on the Cincinnati team that Rutgers took 2 of 3 from over the weekend. No offer by Gronsky. It's 2-1.
Good upper body strength there by Gronsky, able to check his swing on a fastball from Howie Bray.
Now, if you're Fred Hill, do you consider letting Howie Bray go the whole way if this one settles into the glove of Zavala? Gronsky sends it out there. Howie Bray, what a job. All 7 Hawks he faced go down. To the bottom of the 8th we go. 7-6 Rutgers on RVision, presented by AT&T. Just like Howie Bray is for Rutgers, Jeff Paglione absorbing some innings here for Monmouth. He'll return for his 3rd inning of work. Side armor. No action in the Hawks bullpen, Jay, so this is Jeff Paglione's game. And we don't know just yet if Howie Bray will pitch the 9th for Rutgers. He has gone 2 1/3 inning of perfect relief. Ball 1 to Jeff Melillo. It has been an 0 for day for Melillo outside of a walk in the first. 2 strikeouts and a flyout. He's 0 for 3.
Well, if you're Rutgers, you need to do whatever you can to try and tack on an insurance run or 2.
7-6 RU, bottom 8. In a topsy-turvy affair, Rutgers 15 hits, Monmouth 10. Couple errors for RU, 1 for the Hawks.
You have the 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up for Monmouth in the top 9.
Melillo ahead 2-1. Those hitters due up: Gaida, Sweeney, Stewart. Major run producers. Melillo up the middle. Diving stop there by Gronsky. Got him.
Gronsky flashing the leather. Oh, boy. What a play by the Monmouth second baseman.
Steve Zavala.
And on that good contact, Monmouth's bullpen gets up. It's Gronsky. Great dive to make the play up the middle on Melillo. And gets to his feet and throws him out.
That may have kept Paglione in the game. I think his leash is that short where 1 base runner and Ehal, might try and pull the plug on Paglione.
Strike 1 to Steve Zavala. Zavala is 2 for 3. Single, double, walk, RBI. It has been a great midweek for Zavala. They need him in Pittsburgh this weekend. Count 1-1.
Rutgers able to rest Bill Herman, I'm sure with the intention of playing him this weekend. Other than that, I think you sub out Costello for Herman, you DH Charlie Law, and this is arguably Rutgers' best lineup.
Now 2-1 Law, who is on deck. He is playing first base today. He'll DH some other days when Herman plays first, and when he pitches, he'll also DH most times. And that is when Bill Herman will get the nod at first base. Zavala That's off the glove of Perrette and into right field. It's a base hit for Steve Zavala. The 16th today for Rutgers.
We'll see if Ehalt allows Paglione to face Charlie Law.
Good question. Dean Ehalt has remained in the dugout for now. Charlie Law. RBI double, a single, a walk, and a fly out today.
He also has grounded into a double play 3 times this year. So if you're Monmouth, that's what you're hoping for. Doesn't happen often, but you see with a lot of power hitters, they do fall into the trap sometimes and ground into double plays.
1-0. Chopped toward third. Stewart on to second for 1, to first around the horn. Good call, Jay. A double play to end the 8th inning. So Paglione faces the minimum in the 8th. We go to the 9th. Who will pitch for Rutgers? It'll be Howie Bray, the freshman, with the Scarlet Knights up 7-6 on RVision. Howie Bray out for the 9th. He went 4 innings against Old Dominion and got the win. But Bray has no saves this year and will go for his first right now. He has retired the first 7 Monmouth hitters that he has faced since coming in with 2 outs in the 6th in relief of Charlie Lasky. Gaida will foul that off for the first pitch of the 9th. 7-6, Rutgers leads Monmouth. John Gaida 0 for 4 leading off.
Well, I think Bray, even if he doesn't, has earned the right to at least attempt to finish this game. Of course, you have Rob Corsi at the ready, but this is Bray's game.
Gaida toward left center. Zerillo to the gap. First out.
Zerillo, as usual, covering a ton of ground to make that out. How about that catch by O'Grady earlier today? Saved a couple runs, and this ended up being a run free-fall. 13 runs, 26 hits, 3 errors. It's been a busy afternoon.
John Gaida with a little bit of sense of humor. Fakes like he's about to throw the helmet because he knows he made some great contact today, but ends up 0 for 5. Curveball drops in from Bray to Craig Sweeney. Sweeney is 2 for 3, excuse me.
Gaida and Bamford, the only Monmouth players to not get a hit today.
Sweeney has a pair of RBIs. 1-1 with 1 out in the 9th. Line drive. Favatella won't get it. First base runner against Bray, and it's the game-tying run here in the 9th inning in the form of Sweeney.
Well, this changes the approach here of Rutgers completely. We'll see if it's only a matter of minutes before Fred Hill comes out to take out Bray.
Bray retired the first 8 Monmouth hitters that he faced, and Sweeney will have a pinch runner for him.
Ladies and gentlemen, pinch running for Monmouth on first base, number 26, Steve Wilgus.
Steve Wilgus will be the pinch runner, the sophomore from Gloucester Catholic High School. So Wilgus, if necessary, would play right field.
Usually an everyday player, has 34 starts on the year. This is his first game that he did not start at, and he's 2 for 4 on stolen base attempts. We'll see if Seton Hall tries to get the lead runner into scoring position. Oh, see, got Jersey on my mind.
Monmouth with Wilgus on first, and Owen Stewart at the plate fouling it away. Stewart, the third baseman, is 1 for 3. Make that 1 for 4 with an RBI. Single came in the 3rd. He was the first hitter that Bray faced in the 6th inning, and he grounded out to short. 1 out in the 9th. Rutgers leads 7-6 on Monmouth. Looking for a midweek win, trying to go into Pittsburgh as winners of 4 of 5.
Getting a second out here would be huge because that eliminates any chance of a sacrifice to move over a runner, with Wilgus taking a wide lead off of first.
0-2. Stewart takes outside corner fastball.
It's a big call. Very big call. Now, ahead in the count 0-2, you're going to see Bray attempt to get Sweeney to chase outside. Check that, Stewart.
We saw Corsi with an extended save last week. Of course, he's done it in a variety of fashions, in a 1/3 of an inning against Cincinnati and then against Seton Hall, and long stretches as that's a line drive into right field, and it's first and second as Stewart and Wilgis are on, and Monmouth is threatening in the ninth.
We've seen this situation many times today. Monmouth put base runners on and then bring them home. In Rutgers' favor, though, Bamford coming up 0 for 4 today.
Huge spot for the freshman lefty Howie Bray. First and second, 1 out in the ninth, and Rutgers up 7-6. Joe Bamford has grounded out 3 times, once into a double play, and lined out in the 7th. There's Howie Bray.
And Fred Hill putting trust in Bray to close this one out.
Kid from Middletown. Strike 1 at the knees. Bray came in with 2 outs in the 6th inning when Charlie Lasky, who threw 2 2/3, was struggling in relief of Pat O'Leary. The 0-1. Curveball's there, 0-2.
Bamford struggling at the plate, trying to take some pitches, work the count, and it's gone against him.
Jeff Melillo wants to talk to Howie Bray about something.
I guess, Danny, if you will, strategizing to see how you're going to go after Bamford. If you can get him out on 3 pitches, that would be ideal. I do think a base hit will knock this one up at 7.
Wilgis has speed on second.
Sun beginning to set a little as you see shadows coming over the field.
Shouldn't be an issue. Won't make its way to home plate before the end of this one unless we go extras. Good block by Melillo. Keeps Wilgis right where he is. That's an excellent play by Jeff Melillo to keep runners out of scoring position.
Wilgis was halfway to third there, Danny. If Melillo could have made that throw a second sooner, they may have gotten the lead runner.
Regardless, did his job.
Yes. He was halfway to the mound making that play.
Guida flew out to start the ninth. Sweeney singled, was pinch run for by Wilgis. Then Stewart singled. They're on first and second with 1 out. Bray outside. It's 2-2 now to Bamford.
You see both runners taking wide leads off of both second and first. They will go on any contact here.
Rutgers looking to stay above 500. They're also tied for third in the Big East Conference. The 2-2 toward third. Teets, second, 1. On to first, and they will have it thrown away off the glove there of Law, who gets up and is able to keep the runner at third. Wilgis did not go home. Rutgers will get 1. Runners on the corners and 2 outs.
That was a fantastic play by Teets. Second baseman had to make a high throw to Law, who was forced off the bag. But Law with the awareness to keep Wilgis at third base. 2 away now. Seton Hall down to their final out. Monmouth down to their final out. And no way to sacrifice. Have to get a base hit to win.
Stewart was the one with the takeout slide of Favitella at second. Wilgis went on to third. And when Favitella's throw went awry and Law somehow knocked it down, Bamford reached and Wilgis did not go home. It's Chris Perrette against Howie Bray. Popped up in the infield. If Teets gets there, he will. Howie Bray, a save of 3 1/3 innings, and Rutgers defeats Monmouth 7-6.
Danny, that was an exciting ball game. You saw both teams take early leads. Neither starting pitchers can hold it. The story, though, Howie Bray coming in, shutting this Monmouth lineup down, getting the save, and Rutgers will improve to 18-16 this year.
Bray with the save in relief of O'Leary and Lasky. A 3-hour game, and the Scarlet Knights defeat Monmouth 7-6. with 28 combined hits between the two sides. Scarlet Knights 18-16, 8-4 in the Big East. Monmouth now 21-14. They're 12-4 in the NEC. Upcoming broadcast this weekend: Rutgers Duke men's lacrosse at 7 p.m. and Rutgers women's lacrosse against Loyola Sunday at 1 p.m. Thank you to send out to our entire RVision crew. On behalf of producer-director Colin Osborne and Jay Goldstein, I'm Danny Breslauer. Rutgers 7, Monmouth 6 on RVision, presented by AT&T.